We are set on all airways and platforms. So officially, welcome, Martin Kenny. Thank you for taking the time out to be with us. We are here exclusively in one of my private groups, Indigo 11 EDU. So welcome.
Thank you, also. Thank you for having me on. I'm really, really excited about this. I've been following your work over the last few months since coming across you. So, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. You never know. You never know. But I feel like tribe is just connecting. That's just what's happening at a very rapid rate. So of course we're finding each other. We are.
Yep.
And one of the upsides of just internet connection is that, you know? So yes, absolutely. And it's very interesting because I stumbled across your work maybe about a good year ago, actually, or maybe a little bit less than that. But just looking into some of your work and research, it really expanded parts of my consciousness. It's interesting how being curious about flat earth theory in general can literally drive you into a giant rabbit hole. All the rabbit holes come together. It drives you into this one path that leads you outside of all of conspiracy and debate, and it brings you to inner truth. And that's where your work brought me, because there are so many theories and information out there on quote unquote flat earth and so forth. And I consider myself pretty logical. I'm like you. I observe through nature and through just the observance of living. So that's where I get my inner gnosis as well. And your work is literally the only piece of work in a whole with that literally has no holes to the point where it resonated, and it brought up so much memory within me. And it led me to so many different parts of my path. So I'm very thankful that you were sparked to share a lot of that inner gnosis that you can't really Google and find anywhere. And you were able to just put it together because of your remembrances and your awakenings through that curiosity as well. So if you can just tell us a little bit about just, because there are some people who haven't heard of you or haven't seen your work. So just a little bit about your journey as far as what led you to this space, and this space actually leading you to create a whole model of this cosmic clock, this reset, as well as the where we are part within this construct, this matrix, this world, this universe, and so forth.
Oh, thank you, Osset. Thank you. That was very flattering, to say the least. Yeah. So where do I begin? I'll just give you a brief synopsis of my journey so far. So up until about 3 years ago, I was a normal family man, if you can put that in any quotation. I was chasing all these big dreams, big house, big car, big holidays, etc., like everybody else. But I always had this nagging feeling within me that something wasn't quite right about this reality, this world. I've always questioned, why are some people rich and some people poor? Why are we all different? Why do we look different? Why are we all separated? Why does no one actually really know a lot of things? Why do we rely on certain people to know certain things and other people don't know certain things? So these are questions I had from really young. There was also a recurring question within me where I always had this feeling I was going to die at the age of 33. So this feeling came to me when I was about 10, 11, 12. For some reason, I just felt I was going to die at 33. Now, I grew up in a very strong Christian family, super strong Pentecostal family in Africa. I'm African. And in fact, my grandmother was a church elder. She had a church. She owned a church, effectively. And so I grew up deeply immersed in that Christianity and that whole setup. So I thought initially, after growing up, that this feeling of dying at 33 had something to do with me learning about Jesus dying at 33. And I thought maybe, had I been brainwashed? I don't know. But I tried to rationalize it over the years. Anyway, cut a long story short, eventually I forgot about it up until 2016, leading up to my 32nd birthday, I had I thought it was a midlife crisis. I really just went down in the dumps. I was feeling um, lost. I was feeling confused. I was depressed. I was really low. Nothing was making sense anymore. And I just thought, what's the point of living? Those are the thoughts going through my head. There's no point. Why are we doing this? So the week before my 32nd birthday, I took time off work. I just said I dropped my business. I had a little business I was running on the side. I dropped that business. I left work. I was working part-time. And I just said, I need a few weeks to just find myself and figure out what is going on with me because something's not right. So on the 30th, 29th of July, 2016, I was sat on YouTube watching some alien stuff, just filling in some time. I think of some Anunnaki video. And below that video was a recommended video. And it said, man who believes in flat earth. I thought, flat earth? How bizarre. Is that even a topic? Like, who's talking about the earth being flat? So like most people, I sniggered and laughed and thought, this is the most ridiculous thing. I'm going to watch this for entertainment value and laugh at this silly, stupid man, obviously. So I clicked on it. It was a guy called Dave Murphy. He was actually on national TV in Macedonia, presenting the flat earth model and science and everything else. So I clicked on it, and I was eating something at the time. And as I'm eating, I started off by chuckling and laughing and just saying, oh, wow, bizarre. And then about half an hour in, I noticed I'd stopped eating and I'd stopped laughing. And I remember thinking, why on earth is this man making sense? This should not be making sense because the earth is not flat. Clearly, it's not. I know for a fact it's not flat. But this man is making sense. The things he's presenting, somehow they are making sense. They're resonating with me. And this is confusing. So I thought, well, I'm going to prove this man wrong. I'm going to go deep down the rabbit hole because something I realized was that this man was a flat earther, seemed to know a lot more about the ball earth I was defending. So he was describing, the roundness of the ball, 24,000 miles in circumference. We're spinning in that direction, at that speed. And he knew all these things. And I thought, well, it's ignorant of me to be judging him and saying he's stupid when clearly he knows more about my belief than I do about what I believe. So I thought, well, I'm going to re-educate myself and prove this man wrong because obviously he's not understanding the science. So I went down the rabbit hole and started researching all these figures and all these directions we're meant to be spinning in and, the curvature of the earth and properties of water and gravity and all these things. 3 days later, I came out of my rabbit hole and it was clear to me that, the earth is certainly not a spinning ball. I wasn't convinced it was flat, but I thought we're definitely not spinning because what I've just read and relearned, does not make sense as an adult now. Me looking at it with the eyes that I have now just makes no sense. Many holes in it. So I went back on the internet. I looked at other channels, Eric DeBay, ODD TV, and other people at the time were making videos. And a week later, I was pretty sure that, it is 100% not a spinning ball and is most likely a flat surface. And that was the beginning of my journey. It kind of went on from there because Dave Murphy, the guy who had sort of introduced this topic to me, was also a vegan. And he was also into urine therapy and all these homeopathic things as well. So I thought to myself, well, if he's right about that, let me look into what else he's talking about. So I started looking into veganism. I was a chef at the time, so vegans were my worst nightmare. I hated vegans with every passion of my being. But I thought, well, let me look into it. If it turns out that we have been lied to about, something as fundamental as where we are, then everything is up for questioning now. Every single thing. Needless to say, I looked into veganism and something sparked inside me as well. I decided on the 5th of August, I knew the earth was flat. I didn't become a flat earther. I knew the earth was flat. I became vegan and my journey began from there.
So interesting. So it all started and began with you trying to prove this person wrong, which led you to an even more expanded version of your now path and where you are right now. So it's amazing how you ended up where you are.
Yeah, it really triggered my journey. I don't think that was my full awakening. It was definitely a trigger. It triggered something within me.
Yes.
And I remember going through that period where I felt it was a strange feeling, lightheaded. By the way, I went on a 20-day fast as well. So straight away I said, I'm going to go on a detox, complete detox, just drinking distilled water. And I did it. I managed to do one for 20 days. So I cleansed myself, and then I began my vegan journey afterwards. But yeah, I did that for a year, and then I became a militant flat earther because I was so angry. I was so upset. I was like, I can't
That's
believe you.
usually those are the steps and cycles. You get really angry at first, so you got to let that out.
Absolutely, yeah. So I became a militant flat earther. I was on the platform, screaming and shouting and debating, and I was ready for war. Anyone who crossed my path, I was like, there's no way you're leaving without me planting some seeds, at least. Needless to say, I alienated my family, of course. They all thought I was crazy. They all just completely detached themselves from me completely. And then a year later, almost exactly a year later, on my 33rd birthday, that's when I really had my awakening. That's when I burst my crown chakra, if you like. And my trigger was Santos Bonacci. So Santos is an astrotheologist, a syncretist. And I came across his work, and he was talking about syncretism and really deep stuff, spiritualism, and how all these secrets are hidden in nature and in all kinds of things. But anyway, when I first listened to him, I couldn't quite make sense of what he was saying. When it's new to you, syncretism and astrotheology, it's really deep stuff. At first, I thought, I'm not really understanding what he's saying, but it's resonating within me. It's making me, it's moving me. I could feel something within me moving. So I listened to him for a few days, and just in the background, and I started researching what he was saying, going back to the Bible, the ancient scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita's, the Quran. Syncretism is looking at everything holistically and then trying to piece the pieces together to find one universal truth.
Right.
And one day it just happened. Boom. I had my moment, and it all just came together for me. And yeah, my real journey began from there. That's when I began my personal journey of seeking truth for myself. That's when I realized that I really am just a spiritual being. I'm not, this. I realized what this is. This is a stage. I'm over here. This is not real. We're all just over here acting out these roles and trying to figure this out. And, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It is amazing when you come to that realization and not resisting that aspect, but now joining in as a conscious collaborator. So that it becomes fun, it becomes exciting, and it becomes expanding. So yes.
Absolutely, yeah. And I remember the feeling shifted from being angry and being upset and blaming them, the elites, the government. They are doing this and they are doing that. I went from that to complete peace. I went from that to just going, wow, it's beautiful. It is not a bad thing. It's absolutely perfect. It's meant to happen this way. This is amazing. And I began to love the whole thing. I began to appreciate everything, and have no ill feeling or bad feelings about anything. And that is when the truth officially set me free. When they say the truth will set you free, that day when that happened to me, that truth set me free. I was completely free. I was ready for whatever at that moment.
Right. So that syncretism within itself, and seeing the commonalities in all cultures, all religions, all studies, as well as including nature in that, it just brought you to this one singular inner knowing that led you to all of what we're going to get into today.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah, leading from there, I sat down one day and I said to myself, so there's all this information out there, but I have questions of my own. There's still things that are not making sense. I've I've had this awakening, and I said to myself, my higher self, or the universe, or whoever was listening, I said, I would like questions of my own. And the biggest question I really want to know is, where exactly am I? Where exactly are we? Okay, they're saying the earth is flat. And at the time when Flat Earth came out, the mantra was, it's flat. There's a dome above our heads. There's nothing else. There's God outside.
Yes, that's where I couldn't get past, like
Yeah.
the logistics or technicalities of the little details and small details within Earth made sense. But then when you start getting universal and going beyond Earth realm, it's kind of like, wait, so we're not a spinning ball. So you mean to tell me I have to go from spinning ball theory into flat Earth suspending in midair with a dome on top of it? Like, is that where I shift? I just couldn't really get with that either.
That's beautiful. That's the same process that I went through. I went through that. I thought to myself, this makes no sense, because I could see why the spinning ball was given to us, because it's a prison. It tells you that you're on this rock, you're stuck here with the government. There's nothing else out there. Maybe aliens, perhaps. But apart from that, you're stuck here with us. It's a prison.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people, I think their comeback question when they're just diving into this information is, well, why would they lie? And another one is, well, why does it make a difference? Why would they tell us that it's round? And I'm glad you said, yes. Okay, great.
We'll get into that, into a lot more depth. There's a lot more to it spiritually.
Yes.
But yeah, it just made no sense to me. I thought to myself, this flat earth hanging in space with a glass bowl over it is more of a prison than the spinning ball. I'd rather be on the spinning ball than be in this fish tank. Those are the thought processes going through me. But at the same time, I knew that it's still flat. So I thought, well, it can't be this flat fish bowl. There must be more to it. Surely there's more to it. So yeah, that was my first question. Like, you know, what really is it? You know, what's the can I get into more depth as to where we are? My next question was, well, why are we really here? Why does this happen to us? Why are we in this state of amnesia? Why do some people obviously know these truths and they are subjugating other people? Why is this happening? Is there a process to it? Is there a reason for it? Is there a system to this? Or is this just random? Is there someone in charge or something in charge? And if there is, then what is that thing? So all these questions were going through my mind. And I thought to myself, while I've awoken, I'm feeling these feelings. I feel like this is a door is open within me. I'm going to find these questions, at least for me, if anything. And I'm going to find what makes sense to me, what makes me at peace. And then I'm going to share it if I can and see what other people think, or if we can build from it. And that's brought me to where we are now.
Amazing, amazing. So let's just jump right into it now. I know I asked you to send me just a few references for photos. So I'm going to just pop those on screen for a second, just to give some reference here, because I believe the best place to start is starting with the rings. And correct? Yep. Or unless you have okay, great.
No,
so
I'll follow your lead.
Okay. So let me just pull this up here. Okay, so first just wanted to basically show this picture first and foremost, the rings of water and the natural ripple effect that happens from a simple drop, a simple concentrated drop that ripples out infinitely. So let's just get this picture in our minds, allow this to seep in as a natural principle. And now from here, I believe we can get into the actual conversation. So I'll go right over here and you can take it away.
Yeah, so I think before I start, I always start all my presentations with a little disclaimer. So the first thing is, whatever I talk about or present, I never preach anything as 100% fact, right? I'm not here to preach anything or push anything down anyone's throat. I'm simply presenting what I found what I've connected the dots with in conjunction with other people. The other thing is, this is not my theory, right? The cosmic egg, the ripple effect, none of this belongs to me. This is stuff that ancient cultures spoke about in depth and in detail. All I've done, and many others like me have done, is we're just bringing this lost information back to the forefront. That's all we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not taking claim for this and saying this is I discovered this and I figured this out. Not at all. I might be interpreting it slightly differently in my own version with my own eyes, but the concept is very much a very ancient concept. So that's really important to remember.
Thank you for that.
So like I said, my premise of research is always based on two things. The first thing is something called syncretism. So syncretism is basically looking at various bodies of information, like I said, and then connecting the dots. So instead of saying what most people say, the truth is in my book, the truth is in my religion, the truth is in my science or my beliefs, this is the only place the truth is. A syncretist would say, well, I'm going to look at all the religions and all the cultures and all the beliefs, all of them in their wholeness, and then I'm going to see what similarities they have. And whatever similarities they have are likely to be the truth. Because if the Bible, the Quran, the Vedic texts, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gitas, ancient mythology are all saying the earth is flat, then it's likely that the earth is flat. It can't be coincidence that they're all saying the same thing. You know, it cannot be a coincidence. So that is what syncretism is. And secondly, but most importantly, my other premise of research is based on nature. Nature never ever lies. So whether you're religious or whether you're spiritual, whether you are a scientist, we can all agree that nature always tells us the truth, regardless of what perspective you're coming from. Yeah, right? A tree is a tree. What you see in a tree is what you get. It cannot lie to you. Water is water. It cannot lie to you, no matter what perspective you're coming from. So whatever research I have, I always go back to nature and say, can nature verify what I am finding or what I am researching or what I'm looking into? And of course, because the nature of this work that we're doing now, we don't have the resources to look into this scientifically. A lot of this is metaphysical. It's spiritual. It's from within. It's a remembering. So it's difficult. A lot of people say, well, prove this theory. Well, I can't prove it in the masculine way, in the left brain way of here's, you know, a calculation for it, or here's a scientific experiment for it. It's something that is based on resonance. It's something that is based from within. You either hear it and you feel it and you hear it, or you don't. And if you don't, that's okay too. So yeah, I've come to believe or know, inner knowing, that we live, again, like I said, on a plane. Now, this plane obviously is not just a dish like we've been told by many flat earthers with a bowl above it. There's a lot more going to it. I believe it is a much, much larger plane, or disc, if you like. I think it is a disc. And the reason why I say it's a disc, going back to that picture that you showed with the ripples of water,
yes,
I think everything is created from that, from a ripple effect. We see this with cells. Cells do the same thing. They replicate. You know, one cell bubbles into another cell, bubbles into another cell. You see this concentric ring formation when cells form. You see it with trees.
Yes,
right?
the
Trees
rings of a
grow in
tree.
rings.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. You see it with many vegetables. An onion, if you cut an onion, you'll see it's got rings. Most vegetables and fruits, you always see this circular pattern within them. So as above, so below, as within, so without. This organism that we live on, that we call Earth, is a replica of everything else in nature. It is nature. This is Mother Nature, as we all say. So the Earth is, again, also created with those ripples, just like we see. And I think that ripple begins at the center, the magnetic north. So the North Pole would be where the drop falls in that pond. That's the center of the universe, of our universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, different worlds and different dimensions, if you like, or different planes are created over cycles of time. So again, time is not linear, like we're told in mainstream circles. Time is circular, again, just like a clock. So a clock tells you how time operates. This is how cosmic time also operates. So we have things called ages or cycles of time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're led to believe that humanity began at point A and we've progressed to where we are now.
Yes.
When in actual fact, there is no point A or point B, because point A and point B are continually looping themselves.
Got it.
Resets, we have resets that set us back to lower ages of consciousness, and then we build up our consciousness. We get to, well, the Vedics explain it the best. They've got the 4 ages, the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. So in the Iron Age, this is when we are at the lowest of our consciousness. And then we ascend into the Bronze Age where we begin to awaken. And then we get into the Silver Age where we are almost godlike, if you like. We get to the Golden Age where we truly know who we are and what we are. We are one with the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we are in the Iron Age and we are slowly coming out of the Bronze Age. Hence we are now awakening. In the Iron Age we're asleep. So you often find that everything in this paradigm that we're in today is very much the reverse of the truth. Everything is backwards. Okay, so what
you're saying everything is inverted within the Iron Age.
Absolutely. Everything is inverted. Everything is upside down. Because we're in a state of amnesia, we're in a state of forgetfulness. And unfortunately, there are some entities, if you like, which are not particularly bad entities or evil entities. They are here to create that dualistic nature of our reality. They're here for a purpose.
That's interesting because when I look at the word iron, I see Orion.
Oh, wow.
And I see, and the Iron Throne, Game of Thrones, and that whole dualistic polarity, the polarity, the game in itself. I see the game in Orion as iron. That's what I'm seeing right now as I'm looking at the word.
Oh, brilliant. I hadn't seen it from that perspective. I'm definitely going to look into that. There's definitely a connection there. Yeah, good spot there. Yeah, so I believe that I don't want to digress too much. There's just so much information. Sometimes I go around in circles and try and stay on track.
So did you want to start from the ages and the Yuga ages, or did you want to go to the Taurus field?
No, let me go to the Taurus field and then work my way to the ages. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to go and bring up just a photo just so that people understand. Go right ahead.
Yeah. So everything is expanding from the inside out, from the center point. Many ancient cultures refer to this place in many different texts. It's always depicted by ancient cultures and texts as the Holy Mountain, Mount Zion, Mount Olympus, Mount Meru. So you've heard these names thrown around, and this is where this stems from. This mountain is that central point, that 0 point axis where everything began from, and everything is rippling outward. So I think this plane of this earth is not just in free space. We are inside something called electromagnetism, which are the lines that you were seeing on that last image that you had on.
Okay.
So that's what that's trying to depict there. So electromagnetism, which it's a little bit more than that. That is just a base way of saying it. I mean, if you got into the science of it, there's dielectricity, there's electromagnetism. So it's a big field of work, but I'm just going to use very basic words for us to get the concept of it. So yeah, we're in something called electromagnetism, which mainstream science often calls the Van Allen belt or cosmic background radiation. So again, mainstream science tells us a lot of truths, but they're always coded or hidden. There's a lot of lies mixed with a lot of truths. So again, when you're looking at information, always go in looking for the truth and not for the lie. That's my bit of advice when you're researching. Don't look at the lies, look at the truth, because you will find what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're inside this thing called electromagnetism. And I think this is essentially what God is. This is what we all are. Everything is made up of sound, frequency, and vibration. And all those things coming together are what create this electromagnetic force that is around us. Toroidal fields.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's toroidal. And that toroidalness of everything is made up of electromagnetic elements. So the Earth, again, is a plane that is inside a big electromagnetic torus field, as you can see in that image. And we are the plane of inertia. We're right in the center of it, right? We are the middle of this toroidal field. Ancient cultures refer to this toroidal field as the cosmic egg. This is where it comes from. Okay, so ancient cultures knew, obviously, that nature is our connection to the universe. So they referred everything always back to nature. Instead of calling it electromagnetism, they just called it an egg, because an egg is part of nature, right?
Right. And when people speak of a dome, they're talking about the eggshell, and which basically they're talking about that the electromagnetic wall.
Yes.
Okay.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So around us right now, around our field of electromagnetism in this realm, we are cocooned. So above us, there is a big, what people are calling the dome, which is an electromagnetic field, I think made of plasma. And this is cocooning us all the way around. We're inside this. This is our little small sphere of influence, as a lot of the ancient cultures called it. And on the outside, this goes, actually, if you want to bring the camera back to me, I've got a model I might be able to show you.
Yeah, sure.
So if that's our Earth, okay, there is this plasma, electromagnetic field above the Earth. This outer bit is obviously the South Pole, and the center is obviously the North Pole, okay? So there's that above, as above, so below. There's also toroidal field. What? The whole thing's a toroidal field. It goes all the way around us.
So in essence, the toroidal field in itself is considered the quote unquote globe. So that's the half truth, half lie.
Brilliant. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. So technically, we could say we are in a ball.
In a ball. Right. Not on a ball, but in a ball.
Not on a ball, but in a ball. Yeah. Yeah. So again, loads of half truths. So this is our sphere of influence. And within our electromagnetic field, we have our sun and moon that we see every day, that revolve inside this toroidal field. Or
inside
along
the toroidal field.
Yeah. Now, I think that our Earth currently has got 4 different realms, 4 Earths, which is a whole nother topic. I did a presentation called The Fantastic Four, I think.
I believe you sent me a photo of that. Should I bring that up as you speak on that?
You can bring that up as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think there are 4 realms at the moment. There's one at the center. There's a small one, what many people call Shambhala, or the Garden of Eden, Hyperborea, Avalon, all these different names given to this mysterious place. I think that place is at the North Pole, at the center. So that's the first realm. Brilliant. So that's the first realm at the center.
So the center, Eden, Meru, this is at the North Pole. This is where it all began. This is like the center of, literally the center of the universe, of this universe.
Yes, of this universe. This is definitely the center of the universe, of this universe. So right now, what I'm saying is, at the North Pole right now, there is another realm, there's another world right now, a physical world, called Eden or Avalon or Hyperborea or Shambhala. All these names that these ancient cultures gave to this place is there right now at the North Pole. Okay?
Okay.
And then beyond the North Pole, there is that rock that you can see depicted there. There is something called the Holy Mountain. I don't know what that is, but it's called Mount Meru, Mount Olympus, Mount Zion. This is
Mm-hmm.
where they say the gods live, or the angels, the dust avatars, the Polarians,
So
our
they are
higher self.
calling, they are referring to them as gods or angels and so forth because they're considered higher beings or more pure of a being because of them being in the center where it all begins.
Yes,
Okay.
perfect, perfect. In fact, that's where we all begin. All of us began there. We're all Polarians, all of us. And we've journeyed out away from home, right? And we're here experiencing life in these different realms, in these different states of consciousness, but we are all from that center, every single one of us.
Mm-hmm.
That is where all souls are birthed from in this universe, right? So strip it back a little bit. When we're at the center, that is where it all begins. That's pole position. The realm outside that mountain or that holy place is now what we call Eden, the Garden of Eden. Let's use that word. That is a realm where there are beings that actually live there as well, physical beings.
Okay.
Okay. And then the ring outside this Garden of Eden is where we are. This is our
So
space.
is this the correct photo that I have up showing the second ring?
Yes, but this is showing how everything was created. So I would probably go back to the map
Just
that I had with all the rings on it. Yeah, that one.
okay. So this ring here that I'm
Yep.
circling around, this is Earth.
This is where we are. Yeah.
This is where we are. So we're very
Yeah.
close to the center.
Very close. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So that central bit, that central realm, I've got their
Mm-hmm.
own electromagnetic torus field as well.
Okay.
Right. And this is what we call, what we see as the aurora borealis. That is an electromagnetic field that we're seeing. And that is a dome that is at the center covering that realm at the center. So they're cocooned in their own dome as well.
Okay.
Right. So we don't have access to there right now. It's closed off, it's sealed for that aurora borealis, that electromagnetic field.
So it's sealed energetically.
Energetically,
So
yes.
okay, so literally you may be able to see it and it looks etherical, but you try
Yep.
to walk through it, you can't.
You will not be able to walk through it. No,
Got it.
I don't think so. Yeah, that's another story, but we'll get to that later. And then on the outside, on our south pole, on our rim, we have our dome encompassing us that I showed you earlier on.
Yes.
That is the aurora australis. That is our electromagnetic field cocooning us. So when we're looking up, there is an electromagnetic dome above us.
Okay.
And then that spirals out to the next ring. So there's another ring of land outside us.
So this ring that is fairly bigger.
Yeah, that is another dimension or another realm, if you like. And they have their own electromagnetic field above them, a bigger one.
Okay.
And then the last realm on the outside, the last ring, they've also obviously got their electromagnetic field. Almost like those Russian dolls.
Russian dolls. Yes, that's what I'm
it.
seeing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So ring within a ring, within a ring, within a ring, field within a field, within a field, within a field, etc., etc.
Got it.
Now, each of these realms have got their own sun and moon, their own luminaries.
Yeah, so I know that when you talk about when we go a ring over, let's say to the one that is beyond our electromagnetic field, you say that you say Mars is actually a sun for that particular realm, and can you go a little bit more into that? Okay.
Yes. So the 7 wandering planets that we call the 7 wandering planets are suns and moons of our universe.
So they're not planets.
They're not
suns
planets.
and moons.
They're suns and moons. They're luminaries. Just like if you took out a P900 camera and you looked up at them, all you see is a luminary. It's a light. That's all we're seeing. That's all we know. So I believe that they are suns and moons of the different worlds that are across the plane of our vast, vast Earth.
That actually makes so much more sense. And I feel like they use the luminaries now to convince us that this is what our world looks like by telling us that those are worlds or those are planets in itself.
Absolutely. Spot on. Yes. So at the center in this central realm, this Eden realm, they have one sun and moon, which is what we know as Mercury, or you've heard of Nibiru.
Yes.
The black sun, planet X. this is all referring to this central sun. Hollow earthers would say there's an inner sun inside the earth. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So at the center of the earth, there is a sun, which we might call Mercury, and it's one. It's both a sun and a moon. And there's a
Okay, so
reason
it's a
for that.
singularity in itself.
It's a singularity because they're right at the center, obviously.
So
Which is a
that
whole
would,
different.
if you were to turn Mercury into an actual being, it would be basically androgynous or hermaphrodite, masculine and
Absolutely.
feminine, sun and moon together.
Beautiful. Yes. And this is the picture that we're given of Baphomet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you study the Baphomet, this is what they're trying to tell you. They basically tell you about this androgynous nature that is at the center, albeit in a twisted, perverted way. But that is the truth behind that.
Okay.
So yeah. So at the center, they've got Mercury, the black sun, Buddha, sometimes called Buddha or Thoth. Where we are, we've got our sun and moon, Themis and Apollo, as the Greeks call them, that circle around us, giving us night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. On the outside, they've got their sun and moon, which is Venus and Mars.
So Mars would be the sun and Venus would be the moon.
Yes.
For the outer ring.
For the outer rings.
Okay.
Yes. Mars is the sun, Venus is the moon. Venus is the feminine. And then on the last one, you'd have Saturn and Jupiter.
Saturn and Jupiter.
Jupiter being the feminine, the moon, and Saturn being the male, the sun.
Okay.
Okay. So obviously these worlds have got their own different beings. They've got their own different eco and solar systems, they're different dimensions, essentially. This is where we get words like extraterrestrials from, right? So extraterrestrial, if you break that word down, extra means more. Terrestrial comes from the root word terrain, land. So these are extra terrains. And in extra terrain, they are extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
It's self-explanatory, really.
So it almost seems as if when someone goes back to asking, well, why would they lie? It's simply because if you understand this truth, then you understand and overstand that everything is ever expanding. That the plane in itself is ever expanding. So there is no end. There's only more creation and more creation and more creation.
Absolutely.
We can't know that.
Brilliant. And that is one reason why they've lied to us. To add on to what you're saying, the reason why we've been lied to about where we are is to imprison us, what we're saying earlier on. So most people believe that in the universe, we are the only thing in the universe right now. There's nothing else in existence. Yeah. And we have very limited resources. Right? This planet. So we need to pay lots of taxes to make sure we're looking after the planet. We need to listen to the government to look after this little place that we have. Listen to those who who are looking after us, essentially, because there's nothing else. When this goes, it's all gone. So we're put into this psychological state of scarcity, of fear, of limited. We're limited to this. But once you know this, you're like, wow, there's a lot more.
So save the earth, quote unquote, that agenda is not necessarily what we think it is?
No, absolutely not. It's to imprison us even more. It's to get us into even more of a state of fear. Right? So what you see is they will push this save planet Earth, and then there'll be an asterisk behind that saying, so what we need to do is we need more control. We need to control more of how we're saving planet Earth. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So yes, there is a truth. Yes, we must love Mother Earth, obviously. That's just a given. Yes, we must look after this place we live in, but not for the reasons we're being told, that we're destroying it or that we're killing it, which we're not. So everything is twisted for an agenda, which is, again, a whole nother topic.
Yes.
So let's pick on point.
I do have a question, though, since we're still on Earth and we haven't gone to the other rings just yet. Since we're on Earth, what we've been talking about, especially in this group, is we've been collectively, we've been tapping into like the essence of Earth, the archetype of Earth. And what I'm constantly tapping into is that these frequencies that are within these fields, these electromagnetic fields, have been manipulated in a sense
Oh, yeah.
where Earth or the land or the plane, just in general, is a sentient feeling being in essence, that these frequencies that are manipulated within our dome, these frequencies are actually hurting her. Or actually, like, it's not what we're doing, like, hey, stop throwing garbage. It's more of, hey, there's 5G, or hey, there are these other radioactive, or there's CERN, or there are these other frequencies that they're kind of playing around with that actually brings Earth out of her alignment. And really, I've been tapping almost into the pain of her because of that. How do you feel with that more spiritual concept and idea of that?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's beautiful. But, I'm gonna give you a different perspective to what you just said.
Okay.
Um, we can never ever hurt Mother Earth. It's
When you say
impossible.
we,
I mean
us,
we
people,
as in beings that are
beings.
on this. We're organisms. It's almost like putting an ant um, on a on a field, or putting a colony of ants on a field, and then somehow thinking that those ants are somehow going to destroy that field.
Mm-hmm.
They will never destroy that field. That field will always be more powerful than the ant itself. So we are the ants on this living organism.
Mm-hmm.
So the hurt that you're feeling, Osset, is not the pain of Mother Earth, it's the pain of humanity.
Mm.
So it's not the Earth that's being messed around with, it's us. Our frequencies are being messed around with. So these things, 5G, chemtrails, food, propaganda, all these things are there not to mess with Mother Earth, to mess with us.
Perfect.
They're here to control us. So the issue is not the Earth that is hurting. The issue is us that are hurting. We don't need to fix the Earth. The Earth, trust me, she will fix herself when she needs to. When she's had
Yeah.
enough, she will press the button and we start again. It's that
Yeah.
simple. You know, so we don't have to worry about the Earth. What we need to worry about is us. It starts with you, me, right? How have I been messed with, and how can I reverse my energy, my polarity, and then spread my energy to other beings out there? And the more we do that, the more that frequency will align with Mother Earth.
Got it.
So we need to be catching up with the frequency, because what's happening now, I don't know if I should go into this.
Go
But
into it, Martin.
we're now shifting, right? We're going through this shift. We're shifting from one age into another. Like I said earlier on, we're shifting out of that Iron Age into the Bronze Age.
Yes.
So we're shifting cosmically, but we're also shifting zodiacally as well. Zodiac. We're shifting out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius.
Okay, so we'll get to that a little bit later. I see why you said you didn't want to necessarily get into that yet, because we have to finish with the rings of planes and getting to know the planes that surround us.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Just to answer your question, I won't get into it, but just to answer your question, Mother Earth is already changing her frequency. So it is up to us to catch up with her, and not the other way around. We don't need to change her frequency. We need to change and match her frequency.
Okay.
Okay. So these things that they're putting in place, 5G, chemtrails, are to suppress us from rising the frequency of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. No, that makes perfect sense.
Okay. Yeah. So the different rings, different solar systems within them, and different beings that live within them. So like I said, I believe that at the moment we are in fours. We're in a cycle of 4 at the moment. 4 rings, and there are also 4 root races, which is something else I talk about. So again, as within, so without. On a macrocosmic level, in this realm of what we call Earth, where we are, we obviously know of the 4 main races, if you like. They're not really races, but the 4 distinctive looks, let me call them that. In this realm, we are all one race. Okay? Every human being in this realm is one race. If we weren't one race, you wouldn't be able to match the frequency of this realm. You need to be within this race of this game to match the frequency of this realm.
Earth
Hence the
race,
one race.
basically. Race of Earth.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I believe that this race of beings that in this electromagnetic field, we are Atlanteans. If you've heard the term, the Atlantean people, the Atlantean race,
Yes.
we are the Atlanteans. At the North Pole right now is the youngest race, which are the Aryans. They're the race that was seeded very recently. I think about 6,000 years ago.
So, okay, just to pause for a second there. So if we understand the genesis of any ring that is created, it's because this can play, when you look at the ring, you're automatically assuming that the last ring is the last ring. But in the case when the center started, the last ring that we see here was literally the first ring at one point and has
Absolutely.
expanded
That's the first
from there.
ripple. Yeah,
So the first ripple is not Earth, but the first,
no.
So the smaller the ripple, the younger the planet or plane.
Yes.
Got
yes,
it. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, and actually that's a good way to explain it. It is a planet because now we're talking about it as a whole. So yeah, those are planets.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're inside a plane of a net. They're a plane inside a net.
Yes.
So they are planets. So yeah, the bigger the ring, obviously, the older it is because that would have been the first one.
Yes. Okay.
So I think at the moment we've got 4. We've got the Aryans at the center, which are the newest. There's us, the Atlanteans. On the outside, I would call them the Lemurians, or what sometimes are called the reptilians sometimes.
Okay.
And then right on the outside, we've got, maybe we might call them the Anunnaki. Let's call them that.
So that's why they're considered quote unquote giants.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, the different distinctive looks that we have in this realm are kind of offshoots from interactions that we've had with these extraterrestrial other races in the past.
Okay.
So my it's not a theory, it's more a hypothesis. My hypothesis on this is that I think the 4 main distinctive looks in this planet that we're in now are a mirror of the 4 root races in our universe.
Got it. Okay.
So the dominant looks in this realm are the black race, what we call the black race or the black look, the white look, the Asian Oriental look, and the Asian Indian look.
Yes.
Right.
Basically,
those are the 4 main
black,
looks.
white, red, and yellow.
Brilliant. So I think these looks are a reflection of the 4 root races in the 4 different realms.
Okay.
Now.
So, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, ask your question.
No, so so let's go to the first race. And this, and I feel like this is a part of the debate that people are getting misconstrued with the Back to Africa movement and so forth. It's just like black people were the first people, which in a sense is true, but again, there's part lie. So the outer ring, Anunnaki, would literally be black race, would literally mean that it was the first ring. So the first race was black, basically Anunnaki, the most ancient. So that argument is a moot point within this earthly realm because they don't even realize what they're feeling. It's a misunderstanding based on the lies.
Absolutely. Perfectly put. Yes. That's exactly it. So that first race would have been a dark-skinned race, if you like.
Yes.
What we call would be the universal black race, if you like. So those race of beings living on there, they're the oldest beings in our universe. They're the first ones to have been seeded during that first seed of creation. You're going to go back to those stills.
Yep.
No, the ones on the blackboard with the Hyperborea.
Oh, yeah, sure. So I will go to the blackboard here.
That's it. So we'll show that one. So that first one where it says pole position,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been the original. That's the mountain. That's Mount Meru, Mount Olympus, Mount Zion. That is always there. That's a constant. That never moves.
Okay.
Okay. That is where our Polarian selves are seeded from. That is where everything is seeded from and folds out from. Okay.
Okay.
So that first ripple, those would have been the Hyperboreans. The race that would,
Or AKA Anunnaki. I'm using Anunnaki because most people are familiar with that term, but Hyperboreans.
Let's use Anunnaki. That's probably a better one because there's also a lot of confusion with Hyperboreans. So let's use Anunnaki. So yeah, the Anunnaki would have been the first race to have been seeded. And then over time, right, they go round over time, let's say over 24,000 years, like the 24-hour clock. I'm just giving that as an example. I'm not saying that's the exact number. It's just to give you a visual. So let's say over 24,000 years, they go right round and then they hit a reset point.
Okay.
And at that reset point, that pole position pushes out that realm from the center and creates a new one,
a
second
new
ripple.
one, which is
what we now call the Lemurians. So this is what we call a pole shift. This is when a pole shift happens.
Ah, so literally from the pole, literally shifting. Like it's so literal now that I'm talking to you. Like it's not even overly complicated. Okay.
It's so simple. Often Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is probably closest to the truth. So yeah, where pole shift happens and that realm that's at the center, which is the Garden of Eden at that time. So there are many Gardens of Eden. There isn't just one. Every realm has been a Garden of Eden at some stage. Okay. So the Anunnaki were pushed out from the garden, from the center.
Ah, right? So does that go to the infamous Bible story of being kicked out and fallen angels and so forth?
Absolutely, yes. That story is the story of all the races in the universe, playing out over many times.
Okay, so eventually you get kicked out of the garden just by nature because of the pole shift.
By nature, natural cycle, yeah. You must go out and, because when you're close to the center, you're close to oneness. So you're always going to be enlightened, if you like. And the more you go away from the center, well, the further you are from oneness, obviously. So you become more and more independent on your own, right? And this is why they say you're pushed away from the center. They were, they're pushed away from God, etc., etc. You can see the allegory, all that. So yeah, so the Lemurians were the next ones, what we might call the reptilians. You hear a lot of conspiracy theories talking about the reptilians.
What race would that be? More Asian, Oriental?
Yes, I think this is where the Oriental look, if you like, or culture comes from. Hence, you find in the Oriental cultures, the dragon motif is so big. The dragon, the reptile. But that's where that comes from. So yeah, that would be the next race that was birthed out, the second race. Okay, and if you look on Earth, the deepest cultures, the first one is the African cultures are the oldest, are the most deep-rooted. The second are the Asians.
So it's reflected on Earth, literally. The Earth is the library of the universe, literally.
As within, so without. Everything is a microcosm of the macrocosm. Everything. So the next, that goes round 24,000 years, and another ripple is pushed out. Another pole shift happens. A new epoch. This is when where we are now, we're at the center. When we were the height of Atlantis.
So when they say the fall of Lemuria, they're talking again about that fall being pushed with the pole shift and Atlantis. Because even reading like the Emerald Tablets, let's say, and they talked about the Martians making an exodus into Atlantis, which helped with the consciousness fall. So there's an exodus of some sort when portals are open. There's an in and out going on during these times. Okay.
Brilliant. Oh, beautiful. Yes, exactly that. So yeah, you'll read this in all these scriptures will start to come together, like you're saying. I actually didn't know that particular one, so thank you for that one. So yeah, so we were Atlantis. We were the Garden of Eden. We were at the center. We had our time there, 24,000 years. Again, I'm just giving that number out. And when our time had come, our reset, we were pushed out. I think this happened about 6,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Into where we are now.
Okay.
Okay. And the new realm. So the beings that would be native to this realm, or the look, rather, not beings, the physical look that's native to this realm would be the Indo-Asians.
Which
Indian.
The Indian for Atlantean.
Atlantean,
or
yeah.
The red man.
Red man, yes.
There we go.
Brilliant.
Okay.
So the red man is the native distinctive look for Atlantis, is the red man. We're the red people.
Mm-hmm. So that Native American energy, that even Asian, Indian, Tibetan whole situation.
Absolutely. And
okay.
if you look deep into it, the red Indians or the native Indians were actually black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we call African Americans are actually not from Africa. They're native to that place. And they were the original red Indians, right? They were black. They weren't black. They were more Indian than black, actually.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, black Americans should be called Indian Americans, not African Americans.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah.
In fact, if you go to some parts of India, you get very dark-skinned Indians who look black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they actually look closer to African Americans than the other way around. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's another debate for another time.
Right.
So so that is the distinctive look of the Atlantean being.
Okay.
That red look. And then about 6,000 years ago, the newest race was seeded at the center, which is now the Aryan people, the Aryan race.
Which would be white.
Which would be what we know as the white race, Caucasian, in this realm.
So right now, through the fall of Atlantis, I guess I should say, was birthed the Aryan.
Yes.
And is that, and even when I hear Aryan, I'm hearing Orion and Iron again. It's almost as if, I don't want to, because listen, I got Swede, Norway all up in me. I'm white, black, and everything in between. But it seems to me, based on just history or her story or whatever, the story, it's as if wherever the Aryan or Iron goes, it always falls.
Yep, absolutely.
Which is like the white person. So it's interesting that no wonder we kind of look at the quote unquote white man as like the suppressor, because that's literally the frequency that comes with that Aryan, it seems.
But I will reverse that a little bit as well. Right?
Okay.
There is nothing new under the sun. History always repeats itself. So if we go back one step before the Aryans entered the race, the cosmic race, we Atlanteans would have done the same thing to the Lemurians. We would have colonized them. We would have been what we now see as the oppressors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a never-ending cycle. Okay. So what is happening to us now? We also did, if you say we in quotation marks, did that to previous races.
The Atlanteans did that to the Lemurians.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So now the Aryans are doing it to the Atlanteans.
Exactly.
Okay.
There are no good guys or bad guys. It's just the natural order or the natural cycle
of consciousness.
That way. Yeah.
So, okay. So it's interesting that you say the closest to the center you are, the more enlightened you are, but it seems the younger you are in race, the more in the dark you are. So, is it when that center creates the newest outer ring that there's a fall in enlightenment all the way into the dark ages?
Absolutely, absolutely. So right now, the Aryans at the center, they would be enlightened beings. 100%.
The Aryan, okay.
Yeah, they would be enlightened beings because they're at the center. They're currently in the Garden of Eden. However, there are shifts. I'll get into the clock later on. Every few thousand years, these portals open, these fields open, and it allows beings to go from one realm to another, which we're now approaching.
Okay.
Now, during the last portal opening, there were some Aryans who left the Garden of Eden to come over here because they wanted to rule. They wanted to be away from God. They came here with all the knowledge and all the power, and they came to rule over because they were like gods. They had come from the center. So naturally, they'd have come with more knowledge. Is that making sense? When we fell.
Yes, no, that makes perfect sense. So during that pole shift and the openings, the alignments, there were certain areas that had their own agenda that was just like, hey, we're going to go over to Atlantis and we're going to like set up shop and just govern over and be their gods.
Yes, and look after them during this Iron Age.
Got it.
That's how they would justify it. Right? So yeah, in a nutshell, that's how I would explain it. So it's not to say that it's like now, when these portals open now, a similar thing is going to happen. There will be some Aryans who are currently on the negative side who want to come in here and rule us.
Okay.
So that will happen again.
So let's talk about 2020 just a bit, because I know you're going to go deeper into that, but I feel like we can talk about it now just a little bit, where we're coming to another pole shift. So basically you're saying another ring is now being created around the time of 2020. And so not another ring just yet, just an alignment of portals.
Yes.
To travel through the fields. That's what's happening in 2020. Okay.
Absolutely. So if you go to the big board with all the rings and all the complete one.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Go to the one that zoomed in. I think that the one that you had just before. That's the one. Yep. So right now we are at 20. Where it says 2020.
I'm looking for it.
At 3:00. There.
Okay. This right here.
That is where we are along that cosmic wheel of time.
Okay.
So a reset will happen when we get to the 12:00, all the way around. So reset always happens at 12:00.
Reset always happens at 12. So 2020 is a 12:00 event.
So the 2020 is at 3:00.
Oh, 3:00. Okay. So this is not a complete reset as what we're talking about with the new creation of new races, new rings, new planets. Not. This is a 3:00, which is basically an alignment. It's an alignment. Okay.
Yeah, it's an alignment. So that's where we are now. So when that alignment happens, these portals will open up, and that allows for a rebalancing of energy within the universe. So I believe that I know actually that there are 3 types of energy, or 3 types of races in the universe. These are the only races we should be looking at. Forget your skin color, that's not your race. Forget the whole Atlantean, Lemurian, that is not even a race. The real race is the race of polarity. Because all the beings in the universe, all these Anunnaki and Aryans, all of us are from the same essence. We all have the same inner essence, the same soul. Just in different vehicles or different bodies.
Yeah.
Now, this soul that we have, this universal soul, there are 3 types of races. There are the positives, the neutrals, and the negatives. Those are the 3 real races.
So those are the races that actually make a difference.
Those are the races that make a difference. Forget all this other stuff we're fighting about.
Excuse me. Okay.
Right? So the positives are those who are, positive, who are trying to raise the vibration of wherever you are, in whatever realm you are. Every realm has got these 3 races: positive beings, negative beings, and neutral beings. The positives are always going forward, always looking to go forward, ascend. The negatives are always looking to pull backwards, to go out and to colonize and to rule and to, all these things. They are there to create the duality.
Yes.
And then you've got the neutrals who are sort of in between. They will just follow the flow of whatever is happening.
Okay.
Okay. And that's usually the majority. Okay. The majority are normally neutrals. And this is why in this realm, not everyone is meant to wake up.
Okay.
This awakening is only for the positive. Only for the positive.
So and I'm sure you've heard of like some of the theories of, and I know they use video game terms, NPC people.
Yes.
where they're like, not to say demean or
Yep.
anything, but just to say that there is a person that is basically following program
Yep.
and not necessarily trying to override and do their own thing. So
Yep.
would you consider the neutrals to be more NPC like in a
Absolutely.
sense? Okay.
Yeah. Exactly that. Perfect. Yeah. So they are. You'd almost say they are the babies. They just don't have the capacity to wake up. They're still too young. They're young souls.
Okay.
They're not meant to wake up. They're not any less beings. They're not
Mm-hmm.
demon or lesser beings. They're just at the stage where they're not yet there to reach to ascend, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side of that, you've got the positives, the negatives, sorry. And these negatives are the ones who are going outwards. They are here to create chaos. That is their job. They're here to create that duality.
Okay, so since you said Mars is the moon of Lemurian, of that outer ring outside of Earth, so this whole talk about colonizing Mars is
Uh-huh.
literally that negative race
Uh-huh.
wanting
Yep.
to take advantage of the 3 o'clock 2020 opening to go and travel into the Lemurian territory, aka Mars. Is that what that really is?
Absolutely. Brilliant. Brilliant. Perfect. Yes. That's the agenda there. So they're telling you quite clearly what the agenda is, that we're negatives. We want to go and colonize this other world. So they're telling you the half truth there. So yeah, these are the negatives. Likewise, right now in this so-called Garden of Eden at the center, there are
Mm-hmm.
negative Aryans also planning to come out here and colonize us.
So there's a such thing as negatives in the center. That's basically what
Absolutely.
you're okay.
There's duality everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So there are those who are about to come out here, which is what we're being primed for, if you like. When they say Satan will come rule, or there'll come a grand master or a Jesus type character who's going to come and heal all diseases and all things. And this is the allegory of these Aryans that are going to be a lot more advanced than us, that are going to come over here and change our paradigm.
So you're now I'm understanding more with more insight about the whole, because I watch a lot of entertainment as like resources, and I'm seeing
Uh-huh.
the theme in Hollywood is doppelganger and cloning, and how
Yes.
these killer clones are coming, like the movie Us. They're like coming.
Uh-huh.
Are they talking about the literal, like, there's us from the center about
Yes.
to make our move to come here in
Yep.
your plane area? Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Absolutely.
that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And when you dig into this even deeper, you see why there are a lot of agendas at the moment. So remember I said at the center, it's androgynous, one sun and one moon.
Yes.
That ripples out to everything. So at the center, these people in Eden don't have a definitive sex, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see sex the same way we see it.
Oh, so is that the whole transgender
That's the whole
uprising?
transgender.
Oh,
Absolutely.
wow.
Absolutely.
That's why
So
it's
they're
seeping
preparing us.
in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're preparing us for that. So when these beings come over here, they're going to be transgender. They're going to be all these things. So they're getting us used to that. So when it comes, it's not too much of a shock for us. They're priming us.
Okay. Okay.
Right? At
So
the
you're saying
center,
every opening there's a surge of like transgender energy.
there's a surge of energy
Not to
that
say that the
goes.
transgenders in themselves are quote unquote negative Aryans, they're just Aryan. Like they're
They're
just
just,
that energy coming
yes.
in. Okay.
Yep. They're just those beings coming in. So again, different realms are different dimensions. They've got their own, what I call codes of conduct. Right? So again, I believe if you went to this central realm, I think having something like making love is not a sexual act like we have it over here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think making love is a lot more sensual. It's a lot less about an exchange of liquids or fluids or whatever. It's more about exchange of energy.
Mm-hmm.
You might make love through dancing, creating torus fields, because the frequency is different. Okay? Stick with me here.
Yep.
Over here, in our code of conduct, making love is a physical act that you must do with another being. So if you're an Aryan being who's in that realm and you're following that code of conduct, when you come out here and you want to make love, you will not distinguish between a man, a woman, or a child.
Mm.
Because in your mind, as an Aryan being, making love is just an exchange of energy. It's not a...
It's not an external act that is like just depending on that act alone necessarily.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But in this realm, it's perverted because it's not part of our code. It's a wrong thing to do here.
Ah,
So
okay.
if we're in Eden and I danced with another man, I'm making love with that man.
Mm.
Does that make
And I
sense?
guess even same as a child, if you happen to be
Even same as a
a
child.
grown man dancing with a 6-year-old girl is very Edenic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. You're creating love, you're creating energy because their
Mm.
frequency is higher.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can have things like orgasms through dancing in Eden. Right? So
Okay.
this is what they prepare. So these negative Aryans coming out, they're going to bring that negative old culture, the occult, old culture. They're going to bring that code of conduct from the center into our realm.
And it's going to
And
feel fresh and new because
it's going to feel...
we've clearly had a taste of it, but it's
Absolutely.
going to be like even more intense because of the 3 o'clock opening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what they're doing is they're going to pervert everything. And they're going to say it's okay to make love to children. It's okay to do all these things.
Mm.
But it's okay in Eden way, but it's not okay in the
Earth
Atlantean way.
way or Atlantean way. Yes.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is where all this is going. So these beings are in contact with some of the beings in this realm, and they are helping to prime us to get used to that. So when they come, they can do those things and we will be okay with it.
Ah, with like law changes and so forth.
Law changes and all that to accommodate these new beings.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's what's happening. So everything you're seeing, our culture changing so rapidly, is to prepare for these beings that are going to be coming here with a different culture to what we're used to.
Okay, that makes perfect sense actually. How about on the other side? I mean, when these alignments happen, it's also opening for the outer rings as well. Are
Yep.
there any beings like Anunnaki and Lemurian and all of that coming back into or towards the center or towards Atlantis as well?
Yes, absolutely. So I think they're also, so again, everything's a ripple effect. So at the center, there will be Aryans who are preparing to ascend into Mount Meru to become angels.
Okay.
So they're also Aryans ascending. They're also Aryans right now going through their own shift, their own, oh my God, I'm going to leave a physical body. I'm going to have
turn
a
into
light
light.
etherical. Yeah, I'm going to have an etherical body and be able to go to the heavens and do all these things. And then there are the neutral Aryans who are just going to stay in there. They're just neutral. They're just enjoying that Aryan Garden of Eden and that life and whatever. And then there are the negatives who are going to be coming out here. Likewise, in this realm, we also have the same thing going on. We've got us positives who are talking about the new earth or ascending or going back to the promised land.
Or going
Mount
back
Zion,
home. A lot of going back home talk, yes.
Right? The Rastas will say, we're going to go back to Mount Zion, right? Going back home. So we are the positives. And something within us is telling us, prepare. You'll be returning back to where you belong, where your frequency is aligned with. A lot of the neutrals are saying, you'll hear neutral by the way they talk, I don't want to hear about going anywhere else. Let's fix Earth. Fix things here. We don't need to talk about going anywhere. If we fix this place will be heaven. Right. Oh, you're a neutral. That's what you're here to do. You're here to fix this place. You're here to stay here. That's your place. Right? And then you'll hear on the flip side, those saying, no, we need to go out and colonize other places.
So going out always that's a negatives journey. Going in literally is a positives journey. And obviously, staying just kind of like, hey, I'm just flowing with the program. That's an NPC or like neutral journey. Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. So you want to be going in and up and not down and out.
In and up. In and up. Not down and out. Okay.
Not down and out. Yeah. So in is obviously the North Pole, the center. It's also up because it's north. It's up.
Yes.
It's in and up. And down is obviously down, out, south. Okay. So equally, on this outer realm of Mars, there are Martians Mars people, Martians, who are positive, neutral, and negative. There are
Same.
some who are preparing to ascend, who are saying, oh my God, we're going to go into Atlantis, into a new world.
Oh, so there are Lemurians who actually are like, we're going into Atlantis.
Yes, we're ascending, we're moving up, we're going to heaven. This will be heaven for them.
Wow, because according to your chart, and I'll get back to it, they're about to go through an Iron Age.
Yes.
They're shifting
Or
into
they've just
Iron
had
Age
one.
while we're shifting into Bronze. Okay.
Absolutely. So it's probably havoc out there right now. It's probably war. It's probably really bad. It's not a bad place, a good place to be. So there are a lot of them saying, it's okay, guys, hang on soon. We're going to be returning to a heavenly place with green grass and amazing nature and all these things. This will be heaven for them.
Even though they're still considered a quote unquote higher dimensional plane.
Absolutely.
Doesn't necessarily mean they're not experiencing havoc and chaos.
Absolutely, yes. And then there are the neutrals who are there to stay there, and they will be ruled over by our negatives who will go there as gods.
Jeez, I see all of that in my head. It's like a lot.
Does that make sense? So when our government goes there, they're going to be the gods. They're going to go there with new technology, rebuild that area that's just gone through whatever it's gone through. We're coming here to build and look after you. And
they're the saviors of Lemuria and Mars.
Absolutely. And then it just trickles the same thing. It ripples realm by realm. Same thing on the outside.
So Mark, I'm sorry. I'm just too, like, there's a lot of bells ringing. So I'm sorry. I'm like, wait.
That's all right. Yeah, yeah.
So wait. So the savior program in itself is a negative program. I like, you just confirmed that because I literally just made a video about that there are no superheroes or saviors. So the savior is always really masked as a savior, but in reality, it's a conqueror or a suppressor. That energy is.
Yes and no.
Okay.
There are conquerors and suppressors if you're a positive.
Okay.
And some neutrals. They can be saviors, or they are saviors for a lot of neutrals, and certainly for a lot of negatives.
Okay.
So for instance, the negative Aryans who will be coming out here, they're going to come with new medicine. They're going to stop, they're going to bring holistic medicine.
So is that the whole agenda with like CBD, weed, ayahuasca, mushrooms now legalized?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, they're going to say, why are you eating meat? They're going to stop people from eating meat. They're going to say, this is bad. Don't eat meat. So there are a lot of good things they're going to bring, a lot of good things.
But they're just going to use it to control.
They will use it to control as well. So there are a lot of negatives and there are a lot of positives. And what we call control might be good things for other people. So I've got friends who will say, what's wrong with CCTV? What's wrong with being monitored? What's wrong with more laws? They keep us safe. We need more control because things are crazy. And I'll say, well, no, we don't. We can govern ourselves. We don't need to be governed. So there are a lot of people who are staying here who will embrace that and they will love that savior program.
Wow.
All part of it. It's not a bad thing. It's meant to happen that way.
Right. Okay.
Okay? Yes. So there are no good guys and there are no bad guys. They're just know thyself. Know where you stand. If you find yourself in the wrong space after all this has happened, you are going to be in hell.
So when you're out of alignment, that's hell. That's basically experiencing the opposite of everything you are.
Absolutely. So you need to find yourself and know what your journey is and be happy with that journey.
Okay.
So yeah, so there is that ripple effect going on. So those three races of soul beings. A good film that explains this is the movie Bright. Will Smith, have you seen that?
I will watch it again. Something is calling me to tell me to watch it with a different perspective.
Bright explains this scenario to a T. When I watched it, I couldn't believe what I was watching. So the elves in Bright are the negative Aryans who have come into our realm.
Okay.
The orcs are the positive Lemurians who have come into our realm.
Okay.
Seeing it now?
Yes.
So you've got the elves, the orcs,
and Will Smith's character is basically the Atlantean.
Atlantean being.
Yes, who is just basically caught between the
two beings that have come from these two different worlds. So there's so much truth in that movie, and a lot of movies that are similar.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how I'd explain race. So if you want to really know what race is, that is what race is. Are you a negative? Are you a positive? Are you neutral? And I think,
Wow.
there are actually numbers to it. I think there are 144,000 positives that are meant to wake up, and there are 144,000 negatives that are meant to go out.
Whoa. So, okay. So you took it to 144,000. I'm glad you did, because I kind of let go of that, because it seemed a little like, okay, here we go with another program of, hey, you're special and
Yeah,
you're the one. And it's just like,
yeah,
but you're bringing it with a different perspective on just
absolutely.
the amount of energies needed per realm of negatives, positives, and the rest being neutrals, which is majority.
Perfect, perfect. There
Mm-hmm.
has to be that equilibrium. So there's a certain small number of positives, a small number of negatives, and everybody else in between.
Do you sense that there's a recruitment of sides to trade pawns of
That
144,000s? That's why they're
that
after the
that
100 people who are a
that is
part of
the
that crew?
spiritual war. That is the spiritual war spoken of in all the religious texts. There is a spiritual war happening. That is the spiritual war. So right now, what we're
Ah.
doing, this is war, because we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to recruit positives. There's someone's going to watch this who's a neutral. They're going to be triggered, and they become a positive. They're adding to that 144, and the frequency rises,
Oh, wow.
right?
Or even on the other side, recruiting a negative from that 144,000 into a positive
Ripple effect,
144,000.
ripple
So we're
effect.
taking away numbers from negative, we're adding numbers from neutral. And oh my gosh.
It's beautiful. There's so much more going on energetically than just the
Mm,
physical. It is
mm-hmm,
amazing. Once you grasp it, the depths of every single thing that you do matter.
mm-hmm.
Change begins with you, because when I woke up, the frequency of vibration that I created probably rippled out into the universe, and that triggered someone else somewhere else. Maybe not even in this realm.
Oh, absolutely.
Likewise, everywhere. So we're all
Mm-hmm.
connected, like you're saying.
Wow. Okay. Do you feel like even the triggering of the outer realms or rings and inner rings are also aspects of us? Because since we all come from the center, the
Yeah.
souls, we're still connected. But do you believe in the, when people say, oh, my higher self or my other self or my
Ah,
this level, that level, or this archetype that I'm connected to? Like, how about those direct spiritual lineages?
yes. Yes. Perfect. Beautiful question. Um, so I believe that our real self, my real self, is still at the center on Mount Meru.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm a fractal of my real self. I'm not a complete energetic self of me. So at the
Okay.
center, there is an original me that is still there now. That is my guardian angel. That is
Mm,
my higher self.
okay. Okay.
Okay. This higher self ripples or fractalizes itself and ripples itself after every age or pole shift.
Mm-hmm.
It gives a little bit of itself away to go off and experience something. And then when you come back, you're coming back and you're enriching me. You're coming back with thousands of years of knowledge and information and experience, and I'll be a higher being.
Mm.
So I believe that there are versions of us in every realm.
Okay.
So there's an Aryan Martin spiritually. I'm not saying that looks like me physically,
Yes.
but
Yes.
spiritually, there's an
Mm-hmm.
Aryan Martin that has the same essence as me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Lemurian that's got the same essence as me. These are what real, true flames are. When people talk about a twin flame,
Yes.
that is a twin flame.
So ultimately, your twin flame wouldn't be on the same planet
No,
necessarily.
no, no, no,
Mm.
absolutely not. The
Mm-hmm.
twin flame, you cannot have two of the same energies in the same space. So there's also ripple effect happening individually.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an Aryan me, there is a Atlantean me, there's a Lemurian me, there's an Anunnaki me, and we are all interchanging. So it's possible
Mm.
that if I'm ascending into Eden, the Aryan me is coming out into here
Ah.
as a
Okay.
negative
As a negative. Wow. The us again. The doppelganger. The killer. Like.
doppelganger, my clone.
Ah. So would you? So would you, you know, when people are saying, oh, my Anunnaki self or my Anunnaki
Yes,
family,
yes,
are the beings on the outer Saturnalian areas, are they called, is there like a tug of war of like, come this way, don't go to the
absolutely,
center, like come to the Hyperborean realm because we have, this is the future, like literally you're
absolutely.
coming to
Yes,
the ancient future here and there's a life here for you. You don't want to go back to the center. So you're
yes,
getting all kinds of messages from different parts of you, pulling you into like a dominant part of like them.
brilliant. This is the war within us. This is
Ooh.
the angel and the devil on your shoulder. These are you. These are energies from other realms pulling you one way or another when you're not
Mm-hmm.
in control. Absolutely. So yeah, there's a Polarian self,
Mm-hmm.
then there's an Aryan self, and then you are here, and then you've got a Lemurian self, and you've got an Anunnaki self. And when this happens, this changing of energy, all the versions of yourself are going to realign themselves into where they need to be or not. You might all be neutrals and all be staying where you are.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So I think if there is supposed to be movement in your line, in your genetic spiritual line,
Mm-hmm.
you will be pushed in that way. When I had my awakening, my Aryan self was probably the one pushing me. Wake
Okay.
up, putting those messages, the 111s, the 11s, right? They're putting all these things at you. If you don't wake up, I can't come over there. If you don't come over, I can't come over.
Yeah.
Does
Mm-hmm.
that make sense?
Yes.
So my Aryan self, who's a negative, is dying to come over here and enjoy this and become a god over here.
Wow.
He can't wait, or she can't wait to come out here and experience this world. It's new for them.
So they're basically using you in a sense.
Yes,
That Aryan part of yourself is using you as a resource.
yeah, Martin, if you don't wake up and ascend, I can't descend.
So they're waiting to fall or descend and become fallen angels. Meanwhile, you're over here trying to become an angel again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, there's so when if I was able to draw this out, this is but this looks when you speak of this process, it literally looks like the lines from the
Uh-huh.
electromagnetic field. This war or this game is what keeps the field together.
Yes,
If we didn't
absolutely.
play this beyond chess, because this is like beyond chess, but
Yeah,
like if we play this game, if this game didn't exist, I should say, literally the realms would collapse. There would be
absolutely. It
no
would be
energy
pointless.
exchanges of positive, negative, and neutral.
The whole
It would
thing would be
be
pointless.
universe destroyed.
Universe destroyed, because what's the point of it? The whole point of having an existence is for us to experience something in different levels, in different forms, at different stages. That is
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of it. We're on a stage and there are different acts and different scripts and different plots and different stages,
Mm-hmm.
but all this is one big movie set, this universe, essentially.
It is beautiful when you put it in those terms after
It
going
is
through all of
beautiful.
this, because a lot of what I'm seeing, and I think again it's just misdirected sometimes because of so many lies, but people are looking for the exit of the matrix and they're just like, I need to get out of this fake game and go back home wherever the base reality is. But it's just
Yep.
like, it's just, you're just simply looking for another place because you're
Yes,
aligning with somewhere else. You're no longer in alignment with the Atlantean energies right now.
absolutely.
So you've passed
Absolutely.
that. So maybe you're being drawn more to the center, going back into that center
Yep.
realm. Mm.
And and it's so beautiful, Osset. You know, I see now that I have a understanding of this, I can almost certainly tell someone's direction. I know people more than they know themselves. I'm saying this in a nice, loving, kind way. There are some people I've met who do not even want to talk about the North Pole. They're saying, no, everything's at the South Pole. That's where they're hiding the truth. There's nothing at the North Pole. We need to go to the South Pole, Martin. Get a boat. Forget about North Pole. Get a boat. Let's go to the South Pole. They're hiding something there.
Uh-huh.
And I know, no, that's your journey. You go to the South Pole. That is where you're meant to go.
And then, I mean, going to Mars, Lemuria, it just sounds like a They're in the
You
dark
do
ages
that.
right now. I doubt they're trying to come over here. You trying to go over there?
Absolutely. And 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 who's to
Okay.
say those that do go over there, it might be a little heaven for them. They might become the new
Right,
gods, the
because
new
there may
rulers.
be the negatives that are like that's heaven to them because they're
They'll
a part
become
of
the
that
new elite
side.
out there, the new elite.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They'll go there with all the knowledge, all the information, and everything, and rule over these people. And that could be a heaven for someone else. I don't want to rule over anyone. I want to live in a utopian, you know, well-balanced realm. So I want to go the other way. And then you'll get some people you meet and they'll go, I ain't going nowhere. Forget about North Pole, South Pole. Fix Earth. Let's just fix what's here. Stop talking about other worlds. Who cares about other worlds? The only thing that matters is here. Well, that's your journey. You fix things here.
So where do you stand on star systems? You know, is that just another lies aspect of this construct in this universe and saying what star system, you know how we have like Lyra and like, you know, the
Uh-huh.
Pleiadians and so forth. Where does the stars play into all of this?
So the stars is next level up. So again, if you have a Polarian self at the center, this
Mhm.
angel, your Polarian self comes from a star system. So you also have
Oh, okay.
a home in the stars.
So those are other universes outside.
Those are now different worlds, spiritual worlds,
Okay.
totally
Okay.
different worlds. This plane that we're on, this
Hmm.
plane is a physical plane.
Okay.
So all beings must be in physical form in order to play the game here, right?
Okay.
The higher planes, what we call the star systems, those are metaphysical planes,
Hmm.
spiritual planes,
Hmm.
where you exist in a different form, which I don't think any of us will be able to grasp with our limited um, capacity right now. But those
Hmm.
are different worlds.
Different
So
worlds
you're
that are metaphysical.
metaphysical. So your Polarian self, if your Polarian self is to ascend up Mount Meru, up the center into the spiritual worlds, you will go back home, and maybe your home is a star system. And I think your
Okay.
birthday has got will tell you a lot about where you're from,
Hmm.
if you know astrology. So if I know where I'm a Cancer, born in July, so if I know where Cancer is within, you know, the constellations and whatever, I can pinpoint where I'm from as a soul originally,
Hmm.
going back that lineage. But what I normally say is, I'm not looking at that. I'm not anywhere near that.
Okay.
There's no point in looking to the stars when we haven't even figured out where we are now. Keep your feet on the
Right. So
ground
it's
for now.
almost as if you are beyond the game at this point.
You're
You
beyond the
you
game at this
see
point.
it all like an overlook and oversoul situation. You're kind of like, okay, now I can just go to the star systems and venture off maybe
Yeah,
into other areas of
yeah,
physicalities, maybe in other
yeah.
universes.
And I think your Polarian self, the angel aspect of you, is able to transcend both the physical and the spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
So this higher self of you that is at the center, this Polarian self, the dust avatar, as the Vedics called it, can go up into
Mm-hmm.
the heavens, and maybe sometimes this is how they communicate with us, through the stars.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they say you must sun gaze or moon gaze,
Yeah.
perhaps your Polarian self is only able to communicate, this is what I think, through these portals. So when you're
Okay.
sun gazing, when you're meditating, the portals are how you can communicate with your higher self.
Okay. So would those star systems be considered quote unquote outside of this matrix entirely or outside of the quote unquote construct?
No,
Would you
they are
consider it
in,
outside or is it still inside of this egg?
it's inside of the grand cosmic egg, if you like, the
Okay,
grand
the
toroidal
grand
gear.
cosmic egg.
Yeah,
Okay.
the one that's holding our entire universe together with all the beings in the different realms, da da da. We've all got our star systems. That is all part of us. Now, I think,
Okay.
and a lot of ancient cultures said, there are many cosmic eggs in the universe. So there are many more layers to it.
Right.
So
I
there
was
are
going
other
to ask.
universes
Right. Mm-hmm. Outside
with
of this
other
egg.
systems outside of this egg. So when you look at it, we are, wow, we are right at the beginning of it. By the time you then ascend into the higher planes, once you've played your game in the higher planes, and then you leave our universe, you then go into another cosmic egg, you start again, you work your way up. It's just this never ending cycle of growth and experience and all these things.
Okay. Wow. You put a lot into perspective. Thank you so much for this. I'm going to look through and see if anyone has any questions, or if
Yep.
anyone, if you have any questions, please ask them now. Ask them all over again so I don't have to go through 168 comments.
Oh, wow.
So I'll just give people time to put in their questions now so that I can see it immediately. How much time do you have? Because I don't want to take up too much of your time.
No, I'm good to go.
You're
I'm free
good?
for, yeah, I'm good. I'm free
Awesome.
for a
Thank
couple of hours.
you.
Yeah.
So as the questions are coming in, I do have a question, because another thing that I've been tapping into is a lot of the matriarchal energies, mother energy, divine mother energy has been like knocking. All right. And a lot of the pain is coming through, as if there's some kind of cleansing or clearing of that matriarchal line that needs to get uh to kind of like released from a specific kind of loop. But just listening to you, a lot of that pain is actually coming from the center. There are specific types of matriarchs that are in that Aryan center that are actually being held captive by negative Aryans. They're
Mm-hmm.
being raped, they're being bred, they're being taken advantage of, they're being experimented on. And a lot of that seems to be seeping into this realm, at least from my personal journey on what I constantly tap into. I'm just like, what is this? What do I keep seeing? These women literally held prisoner, but these women are kind of like, they have a different kind of DNA. And it's just like, what are they, these women? So it's almost as if there are different aspects of these women that I am aligned with that are telling me the same story. And the story that I would go to would be, and I'll use archetypes, would be like Mother Mary, would be like an Osset, Isis, would be like a, just one of those archetypes that are used. She's seen as mother, a goddess here, but she's not really a goddess where she actually is. She's actually a prisoner, but her likeness is being used here. That's what I'm tapping into. It's a totally other subject, but I just said, with this perspective, I'm seeing a more expanded version of that.
What you've just described is extremely, extremely deep. So I'm going to take it even deeper than maybe where you're thinking it is.
Okay.
So what you're tapping into is astrological energy.
Mm-hmm.
So these women that you're seeing are not physical women in other realms. These are archetypal spiritual energies, what we call zodiacal energies. So like I said, we're coming out of the age of Pisces. We're getting into the age of Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
The age of Pisces is a very masculine energy. It's the age of belief. It's the age of science. It's the age of it's a masculine energy. So the last 2,000 years, we've been in that patriarchal energy.
Mm-hmm.
We're now shifting into the age of Aquarius, which is a matriarchal energy. So we're always shown Aquarius, a man pouring a pitcher of water, which is wrong. It's supposed to be a woman pouring the waters. It's not a man, it's a woman. If you look at it properly, if you research it properly. So it is a masculine, it is a masculine sign, but it is a feminine energy.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're feeling now is that tug of war that is happening. This feminine Aquarian energy is trying to come in and say, hey, matriarch needs to come over and take over now.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pisces energy is still holding on and saying, no, we still want to hold on to that Piscean energy.
Okay.
And this is what's happening. So this paradigm in this realm is fighting so hard to hold on to Piscean energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the universe is saying, I'm changing with or without you. You can fight as much as you like. Mother is still coming in. Patriarch is still
Right,
coming
because
in.
I'm seeing, even with the movie, there's a new movie out called Ma.
Yep.
And she's like insane,
Yep.
and it's like she's looked at, I'm seeing a lot of archetypes in Hollywood, a representation of this mad mother or mad queen, like Daenerys,
Yep.
setting everything on fire with her dragon. is it that, is it the perspective of the patriarch of mother, that she's trying to come in, you know, and to them, of course she's an enemy. So of course she's mad queen and mad mother. So they're literally trying to project her as that from their perspective.
100%. And you can see the mad mother, the mad feminine energy at the moment in the truther community.
Yes.
You see flat earthers are willing to die to tell the truth. I will die telling this. I don't care what people think. If my family hate me, I don't care. I want the truth to come out. That is a motherly love. That is a feminine love. There's nothing in return. You don't gain anything by telling the world you're a flat earther. In fact, you gain enemies and hate.
Yes, you do.
But a lot of us are willing to put up with that hate and that anger and lose our friends and family because we have this motherly love that I will do whatever it takes to protect the truth. That's a feminine anger. A masculine anger is one that wants something in return. Right? One that says, well, you know, if I can make money off this flat earth stuff, I'll become a flat earther. I can gain something from it. Right? So you're seeing this anger within the truther community. You're seeing it with vegans, how angry vegans are. They're going and they're smashing up windows now and protesting and going to slaughterhouses and trying to shut down slaughterhouses, and they're so angry. You see it with these angry vegans, right? And a lot of people say vegans have issues, they're mental issues. A lot of people are saying this now. It's because mother is angry. You've done this too long. We've killed animals too long. Enough is enough. I have to fight for.
So on a cosmic level, she's angry? Or is it just she is angry? That is that energy that is very real. She expresses that through us.
Exactly.
Okay. Is she ever not angry?
She was asleep.
Or is that just a part of the game? She's always have to play that part.
So she was asleep, or you know, during the Piscean age. But the more that the powers that think they are fighting to suppress the mother, the angrier she's becoming. The more she's saying, you fight me, I'm going to get angrier and angrier and angrier, and something will break at some point.
Okay.
But she's manifest through us. So all these people who are becoming truthers, in whatever corner you're in, whether it's flat earth, whether it's veganism, whether it's spirituality, whatever, this is Mother Earth expressing herself, and that anger that you're talking about.
Okay. Wow. Is there any way to not to subside? Because again, what I keep hearing is that what you're talking about is a loop that she does not want to be a part of anymore. She's just like, literally, I'm tired of playing this part on this stage. I kind of want to choose my own standing. I don't want to be reactive to the patriarchy anymore. I want to be free from this looping act or this looping role.
So she will now continually be angry until this paradigm changes in here. So this turmoil that we're going through now in this realm is going to be around for a long, long time, because we're transitioning. That transition from Pisces into Aquarius is not a switch. It's like a fog. You can't put a date on it and say, oh, on this date, we came out of Pisces energy and entered Aquarius. It's a very slow mingling. It gets confusing, and then eventually the fog clears out, and then it's clearly we're now in Mother Aquarius age. But that won't happen for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Okay.
But what will change is those of us who are positives, right, will now override that mother program.
Okay.
I don't need to fight for Mother Earth anymore. That's not my role. That's not my journey. So I've reached that stage where Mother Earth consumed me. Our mother, cosmic mother Aquarius consumed me. I was angry. I was passionate. You know, I'm going to go out and fight for the truth and fight for everyone. Even if you hate me, I'm doing it for you. I'm trying to save you as well. You're being lied to. Then I got to a stage where I realized, oh, actually, I'm a positive. Know thyself. I'm not here to fight. This is not my place anymore. I'm here to move on.
What I'm seeing is you're saying that are different mothers that are like kind of like sisters. They're cosmic sisters. So there's this one sister who's like always mad.
Yes.
All right. But there is another matriarch that is not that mad. She's playing a whole different role. Like I'm seeing this whole family, cosmic family, like playing out through this
Right.
whole situation here.
Go to your screen and put up the blackboard with the zoomed in timeline. You know, the
Oh yes. Okay.
yeah. And I'll explain it to you.
The zoomed in
That,
timeline.
yeah, the zoomed in
Okay.
one. You know, the
Here?
yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Right. So to understand what you're saying, so right now, if you look, yeah, we're in the age of Pisces, crossing over into the age of Aquarius.
Yes.
Pisces is a male energy, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very dominant, and Aquarius is a feminine energy,
Yes.
coming together. The waters coming together. At the center, they're coming out of Aquarius, going into Capricorn.
Ah, okay. So I see this. Mm-hmm. The smaller version
Right?
of that clock is Aquarius and Capricorn, where Pisces Aquarius. Okay.
So, those of us ascending, what we're doing is we're now we've tapped into the Aquarian energy,
Mm-hmm.
which was that angry mother water pouring, right?
Yes.
The neutrals that are staying here, they are going to hold on to that angry mother Aquarian energy. Aquarian
Uh-huh.
energy is an angry mother. That's
Okay.
water. When you pour waters into still water, it creates what? Chaos,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
splashing. You know, it's chaos. It's not a smooth thing.
Mm-hmm.
So all the neutrals are going to catch that Aquarian energy and they will be angry until it is over. But not always angry in a militant form. It
Yes.
might change its forms. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. What you're now picking up and I'm picking up is the new Capricornian
Oh,
energy,
so we're all the way over in Capricorn.
right?
Well,
Because we're
oh,
ascending. Because they're coming out of Aquarius of the north, going into a Capricorn.
yes. Okay.
So we're now picking up that Capricorn energy that's
Which
coming
kind
through.
of shows kind of like the compass of where we're aligned right now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So if you look into Capricorn and what that represents, you will see that energy manifesting in those of us who are ascending.
So
We're
I see
very
it's
much,
the silver age.
they're going into the silver
They're
age.
going into a silver age. Okay.
So they're going from bronze Aquarius into silver Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the concept of time travel comes from.
Okay.
For those of us who ascend into the north, we're time traveling 3,000 years into the future, technically.
Wow. So when you go into the center, it's more of the future.
It definitely is the future because
It
they'll
is the
be in a
future.
silver age.
They're ahead of us in the
They're
cosmic
ahead
clock.
of us in the
Mm-hmm.
cosmic clock.
So they're passing through they're over their age of Aquarius while we're just getting into ours. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've done the whole Bronze Age, Age of Aquarius. There's nothing new under the sun. What we're going through, they went through.
Got it. Okay. So we're tapping into Capricorn, which is a different kind of mother.
Which is a different kind of mother, different type of energy, which is this energy now of allowing things to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a whole different
Oh,
energy.
wow.
So that's what you're tapping into now. Because now you've
Interesting.
moved out of Aquarius. So you went from Pisces,
crap.
you went from Pisces, which is the age of belief and just going with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went into the age of Aquarius, which was that angry mother. We're now in the age of Capricorn, which is a totally different energy.
Ah, so if you can go even further into, so there's archetypes for all of the zodiac.
All of the zodiacs, yes.
Literal cosmic energies that are archetypes that act their energies out through beings.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll map one out for you in this realm. So right now we're in the age of Pisces, the two fish, the fisher of men, Christianity, religion, Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah? You see it with those bumper stickers and everything. We're definitely in the age of Pisces, right?
Yes.
2,000 years ago, before Jesus came, the archetype of Jesus and Christianity and religion and all that, we have the story in the Bible of Abraham. Remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of that Abrahamic age, Abraham was told by God to do what? To sacrifice a what?
Ah, so the ram. Yes.
The
ram. Mm-hmm. The ram,
so
Aries ram. Mm-hmm.
Aries ram. That tells us we were in the age of Aries at that time. That's what that story is telling us in the Bible.
So that that energy or that archetype pre-Jesus is a dude, and
yes,
he's a ram.
he's a
And
ram.
he's that
Absolutely.
archetype. Okay.
Conquer. The ram goes in head first.
Okay.
Before that, you've got the story of what? 6,000 years ago. What began 6,000 years ago? The Bible. The Bible.
Yes. Ah, the Bible. Taurus.
Right? The bull. Taurus. Yeah?
And that's also male energy.
That's also male energy.
Okay.
Taurus.
So what is the archetype of the bull?
The archetype of the bull is, I'm forgetting my astrology now. I need to look into it again.
The stubborn one, or the unmoving?
The unmoving, the stubborn one. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely. A lot of destruction. Bull in a china shop.
Yes.
A lot of destruction. A lot of physicality, muscle. You need muscle. A bull is strong.
Okay.
You need muscle. This is when, this is the age of conquering, age of fighting.
So still conquering. So we have Taurus and Aries, which are two ages of conquering in itself.
Absolutely.
Just that energy.
So Aries is not so much conquering. Aries is not so much conquering as in physical conquering. It's more conquering as in mental conquering. This is the age of building. This is when they were building now. You know, progressing, building.
Yes.
Information. And then before that, you could go to Gemini, the two twins. The two twins.
Yes.
Which is the story of Cain and Abel.
Oh, wow. So it's all there in the books. You just got to learn how to read it.
In the book. Again, listen to Santos Bonacci and all this will come together. Astrotheology.
Okay.
So it's all comes together. Gemini was the story of Cain and Abel. They're telling us we're in the age of Gemini at that particular time in the Bible. Just after Cain and Abel are the first two real character children. Yeah.
Yes.
After the fall.
Who are fighting. So is that the birth of duality or the age of duality?
Absolutely. We're kicked out of the Garden of Eden. That's the age of Gemini, blah, blah, blah. You can see it on my timeline, on my calendar there.
Okay.
And then we go into the age of Taurus, the bull, or the Abraham. And then you go into Aries, the ram, sacrifice the child. And then Jesus comes along with his fish. The
whole story is here. Wow.
The whole story is there. And then we're in Pisces, which is the pouring of the waters. Water is information. Water is knowledge. We're now in the age of information.
If you keep going before Gemini, we have Cancer, which feels back to, so we have a lot of, we have the duality, we have the three fathers, then we're coming back into mother's energy, but Cancer, what is Cancer?
Cancer is a feminine energy. Cancer is a feminine energy.
Okay.
So Leo, so Cancer, Gemini, Leo, you can almost map it out actually. So I think the first quarter, Taurus, Aries, Pisces, that is cosmic night.
Cosmic night. Okay.
Yeah, because that's just after the cosmic fall, the reset, the pole shift.
Okay.
So these energies are always going to be, even if they're male or female, they're always going to be dark aspects.
So now you're breaking it down into quarters now. So this makes more sense now, not just separating them. Now they're clumped together in quarters.
Yes.
Okay.
So as you can see, at midnight, from midnight to 3 a.m. in the morning, it's really, it's dark.
Dark. It literally is dark. Yeah.
Right? Everything is hidden.
Yes.
And then at 3 o'clock, it starts getting light now. We're now almost springing into light. This is where we're heading into now.
Yes.
Right? Bronze and silver, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, in this realm. We're now springing towards 1800 hours at the bottom there, which is now sunrise. When that happens, when this pole shift happens there, where you've got the arrow, we're now well and truly into the sunrise. We're now well and truly waking up cosmically.
Which is kind of like the golden dawn.
The golden dawn era begins there.
So it begins at Scorpio, Libra, Virgo age. That's the quarter of the dawning, the age of the dawn.
Yes. And then during that quarter, it's like sunrise. from 6 a.m. So yeah, from 6 a.m. up till about 9.
Yes, from 6 to 9.
From 6 to 9.
This is
Just like in the
I'm
morning.
here. I'm here all the time. I'm also Virgo, and I'm true Virgo in the 13 astrology as well. Like,
There you go.
so I can see this. And then now we have the last quarter here, which is
Going to midday, this is the golden age of the whole universe. Everyone in the universe there is enlightened.
So Leo, Cancer, Gemini area. Okay. Okay.
That is when
Much more
everything
clear.
is one, is at peace. Everything, there are no toroidal fields, there's no separation. We're all one big family in this universe.
Wow. So
And
there
then a
is an
reset happens.
experiencing of utopia of some sort in this
Absolutely,
cosmic
yes.
game. Okay.
Yes, yes. So these torus fields, again, they open and close. These are the portals spoken of in the book of Enoch, the
Yes.
windows that open and close. So for instance, where you're seeing the yellow stars, if 2 realms have yellow stars together, that means there's no toroidal field there.
Oh, wow. So all the timelines or dimensions are collapsed within each other. So all
Absolutely.
of the beings are experiencing each other across the board.
Yes.
From
so right
here
now,
to here.
So right now, where we are, this 2020 mark,
Yes,
if you look
here.
on the outer realms,
Yes.
the last 2 realms,
Yes.
their toroidal field is going to collapse. They're going to become one. Oh, they're still one, sorry.
They are one.
They are one. There's no toroidal field right now in that. They're all together.
So the basically the Anunnaki and the Lemurian are basically were at one point experiencing each other.
Yep, up until this reset that's happened now, where the Lemurians have been closed off now.
Yes, closed off.
They're now closed off.
Meanwhile,
So
the Anunnaki is still in a golden age
of the last epoch. Because they're behind.
Okay.
They haven't caught up yet.
Is that also the conception of them living long for thousands of years?
Yes.
Because they're on that outer ring and they're experiencing time much slower?
Much slower. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So they haven't reset yet. So we've now reset. So technically, the only 2 realms right now that are in the Aryan epoch are us and the Aryans at the center.
Okay.
The other 2 realms technically are still in the old Atlantean epoch energy.
Okay. Yes. I see. Okay.
Right. And before I forget, I just want to touch back on Aryan, Lemurian, Atlantean, and Anunnaki. That can also be correlated with the 4 elements. The Aryans are the air people. Aryans, air people.
Yes.
Atlanteans are the
earth people.
No, Atlantis
the earth
was
element?
No, Atlantis were the water people. Atlantis, water.
Oh, yes. See, I'm thinking about the realm name, since Earth and Atlantis are like named as the same planet.
No.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
So the Aryans would be the air people. Atlanteans are the water people.
Water people. Okay.
Lemurians are the fire people.
Dragon energy.
Dragon. And of course, the outer people would be the earth people. Now you can actually see this with the 4 distinctive looks in this realm. Earth people, black people, running, dancing, earthy things. The black genealogy is very good at earthy things.
Yes, yes.
Right? Fire people, you see it with Asians, Oriental people. Right?
Yes.
Gunpowder was created where? In China. Right? Bombs, gunpowder, all of that originated in China. Those are the fire people. Dragons. Atlantis. Most people don't know this, but the best boat builders, the British, learned how to build boats from the Indians.
Okay.
Right? The British Empire that ruled over the world through sailing learned everything from the Indians.
Yeah.
This is mainstream science will tell you this. The Indians are amazing boat people. Same with the Native Americans who were actually black. They're called the Moors.
Yes.
What is a Moor? A river person, because you moor the boat. You're mooring the boat.
Wow.
The boat people.
Oh, man. Because they'll have you thinking Native American or Indian is more earth they'll have you calling black people children of the sun, white Caucasian is fire. Like
Nah,
it's all mixed up. Okay. Yeah.
it's all mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, no. If you look at the Moors, like I'm saying, the original native people to this land, these red people, they're
Yes.
called Moors. Moors, as in they were mooring ships,
Yes.
right? So they are the water people. So
Okay.
native Black Americans, what we call Black Americans, would have been very, very water orientated.
Okay.
In fact, if you look at a lot of the older cities in the Americas, they're all along the coast,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
All along the coast of the continents, the Mississippis, and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Because
No.
they were
Makes
water
sense.
people.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
obviously the Aryan people are the air people, the people of the air
Right.
energy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay? I just wanted
Amazing.
to stick that in because that's quite...
No, yeah, that's very, it brings it all together from elemental, from the astrological level.
yeah.
It brings it all together. So I'm going to get to the questions because there's so many. Okay, so Charles has a question. Oof, sorry, these comments are moving. Trying to read. There are a lot of questions here. Okay, so I'm sorry. People
That's all
are
right.
just like, they're very into the conversation.
Oh, good.
Let me go all the way to the end. How about that? Okay. Katiana says, "Oh my God, I had a question about this recently. But my right, oh, she was talking about, okay, about my about this because recently my rising sign has changed to Capricorn when a few years ago it was Virgo. Can anyone explain this?" So she was just noticing a shift in her natal chart, literal shift in her natal chart. I don't know if there's actual movement and shifting in that.
Okay, so repeat the question again.
Excuse me. She was just recognizing that there was a shift in her rising sign. It changed from it changed to Capricorn when a few years ago it was Virgo. And I understand that our natal charts govern at least the templated versions of us within these different realms. And I know we can override our natals, but is there anything to say about actual natals shifting in itself? Does that change your whole purpose, your whole path?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think so. I think if or when we understand true astrology, all these shifts that are happening are a reflection of the shifts that are happening in your own life as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm willing to bet that if she mapped out when her natal chart shifted, there was a lot of shift within her personal energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right, her awakening, or something big happened within her. So all these things are reflected. The spiritual is reflected with the physical as well. I don't know if I'm answering that question correctly.
No, I sense that you have. Looking over here on Zoom, someone said that this sounds like the journey of Thoth.
Yep, brilliant.
Especially with Mercury going out into Hermes, going out, like where he talks about his different incarnations.
Yeah.
It's the representative of each ring or an aspect of himself in each realm.
Yes.
Very interesting. So how is ascension positive if you're going into another plane or hell? Oh, so basically if you're going into, I'm assuming she's asking based on like your charts. Let's say in that inner ring or going in, there's an upcoming dark age. And
no.
that ascension is in. How is that like an ascension if you're kind of like going into?
No, the center, they're always ahead. So they're always rising. So they're going into the silver age.
Okay. But eventually
right?
the center does go into an iron?
eventually after the whole thing has ended, the whole cycle.
Oh,
That's
where
like in eight,
everyone starts all over
where
again.
everyone starts all over again.
Okay.
So it's almost like a spiral. If you go back to that chart on my wheel, you will see
Uh-huh.
if you follow the stars, you'll see the Fibonacci spiral on there. The ripple
Mm-hmm.
ripples out literally.
Oh yes, the star is looking like the Fibonacci.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so this next classroom we're going to, Earth is a school. We're here to learn, right? So this classroom that we're in right now is one behind the classroom at the center.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like an upgrade. We're going to a slightly better place, well, a lot better place than what it is now. Yeah. So we're
So,
ascending.
okay, so when you say we're ascending, so could we talk about your physical trip? You're planning on going to the North Pole. Like you're not talking about, hey, when I leave this body, I'm going to make my way back to the center. You're talking about like right now, I'm packing up and I'm going towards the North Pole. Do you want
So
to talk about that, or is that something you're
yeah,
kind of keeping under
yeah.
wraps? Okay.
No, not at all. So that's a question I get a lot of the time about this ascension. You know, what's going to happen? Right. There is no one size fits all. This is not a religion, because that makes
Mm-hmm.
the religion. There isn't a you must do this to ascend, or you must go there or be here. That does not exist. That is the wrong way of looking at this. There are a million ways to ascend.
Mm-hmm.
This is your game. Once you're awake, you have the spear of destiny. I'm sure you've heard this before.
Yes.
When you have the spear of destiny, you can create your own ascension in whatever way that you want to. So some are going to shed their bodies, in other words, die. They'll just collapse, and then their conscious self will re-upload in this new place, in a new body.
Okay.
Right? So your persona that is now will die. You leave that behind. You move on. Others might get collected by these extraterrestrial beings. Wherever you are in
Mm-hmm.
the world, they might come to your house, like those alien movies, pick you up, and off you go physically. Okay?
Into the other realms or rings
Into the
of.
other realm.
Mm-hmm.
Some will make a pilgrimage and make a journey of it and say, I want to go in on my own and walk in physically on my own
Okay.
as my own personal pilgrimage and enjoy that. So there isn't a right or wrong way of doing anything. No one needs to do anything or be anywhere. You just need to decide for yourself, if you have a choice, how do I want to ascend? What's comfortable for me? And when
Mm-hmm.
you make that decision and you put it out to your higher self, again, your higher self will hear the call and that will be prepared for you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's as
So
simple as that.
yeah, just be decisive in that path
Just
once
be decisive.
chosen.
And even if you're not decisive, even if you don't know, just wait in preparation. And when it happens, it will happen. Your higher self will arrange something that is suitable for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because for some people, if an extraterrestrial appeared in front of them, that might be too much for them, too shocking.
Mm-hmm.
It will do more harm than good. So that is
Mm-hmm.
not the best route for you. For some people, they want that experience.
Yes, a lot
I
of people
love
want
that,
that experience.
right? And for some people, they want the experience of going to find this place themselves, like myself. I want the adventure of it,
Yes.
only because it's an adventure, not because it's any
You're
better
trying
or any
to
worse.
escape. Yes.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's just the adventure of it. But we'll all get there. We'll all find ourselves there in our own way. Some will say, oh, I just died in Atlantis and woke up over here. Some will say, oh, no, I was picked up
So
by a
even when
spaceship.
so when we talk about quote unquote dying or dropping the body, and when people say, oh well, I wake up into another life, it's almost like you're waking up into another aspect of yourself in another realm that you were aligned with before death.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Exactly that. Exactly that. Yeah.
So it's almost as if that being of you, let's say the Anunnaki version of me, let's say if I leave this body and I wake up and I'm my Anunnaki self back in the ancient times, it's more
Yep.
of like my ancient self collected me. Basically,
Yes.
I aligned myself with my ancient self and now I'm more full inside of my ancient self, more
Yep.
so bringing
That
that
is the
Atlantean experience into my Anunnaki self.
that is the original version of cloning. So that is what cloning is. Cloning, if you break it down etymologically, cloning is see loan. See your loan. You're loaning a body.
Ah,
See the loan. See
yes.
loan. So that's what cloning is. Cloning is just
It's
you
loaning.
shifting your consciousness into another dimension, into another version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Twin flame, your doppelganger, whatever you want to call that.
Wow, which can be like my Anunnaki self can be a dude. It's just like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So there are many different ways of doing it. So there isn't a one size fits all or a dogmatic way of to ascend, you must do this. I think a lot of supernatural things are going to happen, and some will just disappear like the rapture overnight, just disappear. Some will pilgrimage. Yeah. So
Eliza is asking, so is this why some contactees say you don't have to have a spacesuit for cosmic travel? When we talk about cosmic travel, going into spaceships and rockets and NASA and going to other planets, what is true space travel to you? Is it through consciousness?
So space travel, I believe that space travel does exist, but it's not outer space up, it's outer space sideways, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you look at the model that I present, or that the ancients presented, all the different rings, outer space is just the space outside the space that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what outer space means. It's got nothing to do with up there in the skies. So no one goes to the skies. There's no one going up to those celestial bodies. When they say we're going to those planets, no one is going there in
That's
physical
what I
form.
figured,
It is
just
impossible.
innately. Mm-hmm.
It is impossible.
There's
It is
nothing up
impossible.
there
There is nothing up
for
there
you
for
in this form.
physical form.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's a lot.
Spiritually, yes, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
in physical form, absolutely impossible. But we can go into outer space sideways.
So what about the other side of the egg? So there's a bottom part of the field. Is there like a literal flip upside down parallel aspect of this top part or this part that we're experiencing on our side?
You
Have
mean
you
like
ever got underneath?
under the disc?
Under the disc, yes.
So I believe that this disc we're living on, we'll call it a disc, Mother Earth, is actually a tree. This is the tree of life, right? So the Earth is literally a tree, literally,
A tree.
right? And hence the rings, just like a tree grows with rings, the Earth grows with rings. We are the ants on that tree, the depend ants of that tree. Okay?
Depend ants. I got it.
Right? So at the moment, the tree has been cut down because we're in the dark age. When the deluge happened or the reset happened, the pole shift, the tree, which the trunk would have been at the center, Mount Meru, that would have been the trunk of the tree going out into the heavens. Right? And this is where you get the Christmas tree analogy from. So at Christmas, what do? We take a tree, that Christmas tree, we put it on a base that is normally stepped, a tiered base, right?
Yes.
And then we put the ornaments around the tree. Those are all the celestial, those are the stars and the moons. That's what we're doing, right? And then we put the presents underneath the tree. We are the present. We are the gift. That is what that whole Christmas tree symbology is about. It's our story.
Okay.
So we are the presents underneath the tree. So at the moment, that tree has been cut off. What's happened in Avatar? That's what they're trying to tell us in Avatar. And it's just a tree stump at the moment.
Oh.
With levels, like a pyramid, like a circular pyramid.
Yeah.
So it's a circular pyramid at the top. I think I've got a picture I sent you with all the different pyramids. You want to bring that up?
Oh, I can look for it because I don't think I added that to the document.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. But yeah, we're like a circular pyramid.
I can see
And
that. I can visualize
as
that.
above, so below, the same is also underneath. That's the root of the tree. So I think
Okay.
there are underground cities underneath the earth as well.
Okay. And is it going based on the same principle as on the
No,
surface?
no, no, no,
They're
no. So
living, there are other laws going on beneath there.
completely
Universal law.
different laws. So
Okay.
according to ancient scriptures, they say that this tree that we're on is sitting on waters, the Gabadoka Ocean, the great deep.
Okay.
So the bottom half of our torus field is water,
Okay.
right? So we're sitting on water. This is the depiction of the turtle with the flat earth. It's
Yes.
not an actual turtle. It's telling you that it's water, allegorically.
Mm-hmm.
So within the crust of the earth, there are underground cities, dark cities, and these are not
Yeah.
good places to be.
Or what's considered maybe the underworld.
The underworld, yeah.
The underworld.
You, yeah, those are not places we even want to be talking about. That's yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
Charles, please ask your question again. I see you tried to ask something twice, so ask it. Give it another shot, Charles. Okay. Someone, Jasmine, she said, the further we explore, the more we expand. The slower time moves. It's our own perception of time that moves in the speed we are moving.
brilliant.
So
Relative.
when I think of expansion, though, I do think of going outer, more outward, an outward spiral of experience.
Yeah.
So it's almost inverted in a sense where, but I guess if you're not necessarily enlightened to a certain point, you want to go out to get those experiences, correct? Because you haven't really grasped those
Absolutely.
more ancient experiences that you've already experienced. You're kind of like, I kind of want to go back Anunnaki way or Lemurian way just to kind of collect more.
Yep.
So is that what expanding really is just collecting more experiences? And the more you've gathered and understood, the more attracted you are to going back into center?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you'll find there are people who are immersed in this experience of experiencing life, who are deeply immersed in, who want to explore and travel the world. Now, for me, even before my awakening, I never ever saw the point of being here. Nothing, even traveling didn't excite me. People used to say, oh, let's go on a holiday, let's go abroad, and let's go. And I used to think, well, a beach down the road is the same as a beach in Costa Rica to me. It doesn't make a difference.
Yes.
If I'm at my local beach or in Costa Rica, it's the same thing. It's just a different rendering. Right? So my higher self was telling me that you've done it all, you've seen it all. Nothing amuses me.
Okay.
Nothing in this world amuses. There's nothing in this world I look at and think, oh, wow. It's all a little bit, it's cool, but it's not.
Right.
There's more.
There's more. There's more depth to.
There's more depth to it. So that tells me that my spirit has seen it all in that regard. I'm now winding back in, like you're saying, in that coil. So some are winding outwards,
and some
others are winding in.
Okay. Maitreya asked about Saturn, you know, where people talk about Saturnalians, the black tall race from Saturn. What about them? Are you familiar with like just the essences of these different races? You talk a little bit about Saturnalians, Anunnaki, Hyperborean, like who are they? A lot of people have interest in the ancient aspect.
Yeah, so I've not gone into too much depth. I've got just enough to comprehend the basics of it.
Okay.
But I've not gone into depth about these races. I did research some Anunnaki. When I became a flat earther, quote unquote, or when I realized the earth was flat, I stopped looking at races and aliens and all that because I assumed the, fish tank model. It's only now recently, in the last year or two, where I've gone back and gone, well, actually, no, that was correct information, just out of context. So yeah, if there are people who are into their aliens, if you've not yet jumped off that and you've looked into it, if you take what you know about what you've learned about these Saturnalian people, Lemurians, Anunnakis, and just fit it in to what I'm saying about these different realms on the plane of the earth, you will see how much more it will make sense, and the different timelines as well. It will make a lot more sense.
Okay. Because I'm assuming if they're more ancient and more in the past, this is when we're talking about like pre-dynastic Egypt in a sense. Because even with
Ah,
the history timeline of BC and AD,
yep.
I'm seeing, and I even tapped into that as that BC is a completely different world. It's not even what we think is on this timeline. Oh, such and such BC, 50,000 years ago, BC, Egypt or Kemet. It
Ah,
didn't
right,
take place here, like at
right.
all
Okay.
within this realm. That's what I kind of like, what came to me, but I maybe there's a, I'm trying to
Yeah, you're right.
conceptualize it.
You're right. You're right. We're just lost in translation. I was trying to explain something else. Go back
Okay.
to the zoomed in clock
Okay.
again. Okay. Yeah, perfect. So if you look at that clock, if 12 o'clock was the reset, this is
Mm-hmm.
when the great deluge happened.
Okay.
Pole shift happened there. Not the deluge, the pole shift, sorry. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Our deluge, I think, happened 3,000 years ago on that next line, which would be like 2 o'clock, that one.
Okay.
That there is when we fell from our old golden age into our current iron age.
Oh, the more intense falling from literally golden to iron
Yes, in our particular realm. This
in
was
our
our
realm
personal reset. Yeah.
for Earth only, or in
Yeah.
Atlantis at least.
For
And
Atlantis only. Going from
okay,
gold into iron. This is when we fell.
so is that the fall from BC to AD? You think?
Yes.
So
So
BC is
that
golden,
age, that
AD
age,
is. Mm-hmm.
so that age, this golden age that you've got pointed there, that is probably when things like the pyramids were built, because it was a golden age.
Yes.
They were still high in consciousness. They hadn't fallen yet. Atlantis
Okay.
was still at its peak.
Yes.
And then something happened there, boom, reset for us. And we had to begin again. We had to start again. This is when we forgot everything, amnesia, everything. We had to start again from there.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So
Yes.
that's the old world. We're now in the new world.
Okay. The old world and the new world, because literally old and new, because this was the reset for our realm, the complete
Yes,
reset,
complete
not
reset.
just an
Yeah,
alignment, but an actual pole shift, reset completely.
perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this would be, so these are not Hyperborean essences here then. When we think ancient 50,000 BC, we're still thinking ancient, but this is ancient for Atlantis realm, but ancient Hyperborean is a different experience
Okay,
still.
so put the bigger map on with
Okay.
the full picture. Right. So look at that period before we fell. Look at all the yellow stars.
Yes.
What does
All
that mean?
around. All of
So
the yellow.
so look before we fell, where it says Aries, where it says where we fell from into our Iron Age,
Uh-huh.
3,000 years ago.
Yes.
So pre 3,000 or 2,000 whatever,
Mm-hmm.
we were in our golden age, yeah.
Ah, I see what you're saying. So we were collapsed. We were all having an experience on one
We were
realm.
all one. The Lemurians, the Hyperboreans,
Ah,
it was one land.
it was
There's no
one
distinction.
land. So the land
Yeah,
of Chem, and when we talking about that particular quote unquote history, is the story of Hyperborea, Lemuria, and
everyone,
Atlantis.
everyone. It's all our story because
Ah,
we're all in one big tourist field.
okay. Okay,
And then
there
when
were
the
no
reset happened,
dimensional separations or
no,
anything. This is why they talk about walking with giants.
yes,
Literally walking with giants, because they
yes,
were all on the same realm, same
yes,
dimension. Wow. Okay.
yes.
I see now.
And then when
And
the
we were
fall happened,
literally
that's
cut off. We were cut off
yes,
from.
cut off from everyone else.
That's the AD. We completely cut off from that BC experience.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, no, it
Yeah.
answers it perfectly.
Okay.
Um I Charles, I'm waiting for a question mark. Charles, you're making comments, not just like uh okay, he said he was sun gazing and something was left with him. He goes, I was sun gazing and something was left with me. And now it's a circle of purple, violet, and aqua colors bouncing around. And it's there whether I open or close my eyes. And it's been there since 2010. So he's received something from the sun that has
Wow.
not left his sight.
Wow.
I don't know
Sounds
if
like he popped open a chakra there and it stayed open.
ah,
That's what
okay.
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I would say instinctively. It sounds like it's got
Instinctively.
something to do with he's very much in tune or aligned with whatever it is that happened. Still.
It almost feels like a chakra that's not even on the charts. Like he tapped
Yeah.
into like a chakra
Something. Yeah, absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
and okay. I do have a question about technology in all of this. When we talk about artificial intelligence, AI, the matrix, as we're trying to understand it as being like a simulation, is
Yep.
there an aspect of this cosmic cycle that you have here that is quote unquote organic versus simulated?
Yes. So when we talk about technology, immediately we think about it in a very inorganic way, don't we? Machines and gadgets,
Yes.
and disconnecting from nature and plugging into something else that is artificial.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everything that exists within the matrix that is artificial is a copy of something that is original. Okay? Now, if you break down the word original, it is O-regional. The O region is the center. That's the O region.
Yes.
Yeah? The center. This Garden of Eden we're talking about. So when we talk about technology, all this technology we're using now is actually backward technology.
Mm-hmm.
These phones we're using, this internet, all of this is extremely backward. We're not using it in the proper way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what they've done is all technology comes from the ether, magnetism, electromagnetism. That's where all technology comes from. And in fact, real technology is something we call magic. In fact,
So that's
magic,
organic technology, the
that's
what we call
organic.
magic. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So magic actually comes from the word magnetism. You can see the relationship there, magic and magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
So what we would call magic is the real organic technology. So believe me when I say that we can probably, at the center, they're 3,000 years ahead. They are able to technologically communicate with one another without devices using magic. You might call that telepathy. You might
Mm-hmm.
call that sorcery, all different names. But that's using nature, what we have around us, to interact with the matrix. That's real
Mm-hmm.
technology. So yes, I am for technology. I love technology, but not in its base perverted form that we have it in right now. Right now, it's completely perverted.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those of us who are ascending and going up north, we're going to be having to learn a whole new way of being and learning a whole new way of technology and everything.
So
In
when
essence.
people think future, because you say towards the center is more futuristic because it's ahead of
Mm-hmm.
time. But when we think of future, it's backwards once again in this realm because we're thinking artificial as future
Yes.
instead of magic or organic technology as future. That's the actual real future.
Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Absolutely. And this also sort of ties back with what's happening now as we're shifting into this age of Aquarius. You can see how technology is changing. So technology, even 50 years ago, to what it is now. 50 years ago, if I had said to you in the future, we'd have the technology we have today, you would have said impossible. It is not
Right.
possible, right? The fact that we're doing it now obviously tells us that we are progressing somehow. So we
Mm-hmm.
are slowly going back to using real technology, but at the same time, they're also trying to hold on to that patriarchal left brain technology. So
Right.
it's a very, very slow shift,
Mm-hmm.
but you can see the shift happening. So I think things like 5G, a lot of people are fearing them. I'm not afraid of 5G.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why we're afraid of 5G is because we do not understand it. We don't get it. We don't know. But I think 5G is magic. There are things that 5G is going to open up that in 5 years' time, we'll all look back and think, how did we live without 5G? The things we're doing now, insane. I can't live without it. It's scary because we are transcending lines that are unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And we think it's going to
So
fry us
that's
and
why
kill
it's
everyone.
scary.
That's why it's scary. It's an unknown. It's a new paradigm for us. It's magic,
Which,
basically.
mm-hmm,
We don't yet understand.
makes sense.
So
Dana
that's what I say.
asks, oh, sorry.
Sorry, just wanted to say, that's why I say to people, don't live in fear. There are a lot of people afraid of 5G and we're afraid of this and they're doing this and they're doing this. There is nothing to fear. Everything that's happening is happening as it should be. And I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you 10 years from now, when everything's on 5G, we'll be looking back at this embarrassed, like, why were we so afraid of this? We all thought we were going to fry and die, but look how we can't live without it, those who are staying at least.
Yeah, I mean, we did the same thing with electricity. If you think about
Yep.
every like quantum leap in like quote unquote technology, the iron
Yep.
age, like the industrial age, the digital age even was a quantum leap. We
Yep.
were like fearful of even the digital age. We thought the whole world was going to shut down for the year 2000.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So I hear what you're
Nothing to
saying. It's
fear.
just misunderstanding because it's unknown.
Absolutely.
Okay. Dana says, if you don't move rings or go out and down, do you have to stay there for another 6,000 years or equivalent if the 2020 window closes?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. So I think these ascensional processes, or this process of ascension and descension, happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think this is what shooting stars are. These are souls going from one realm into another, shooting from one realm into another. Now, the only reason why this one in particular is so special is because for the first time, we will be able to ascend consciously, not subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the only way I can ascend right now is for me to leave this body, go into the spiritual realm, and then ascend. That's the only way I can do it right now because the portals are closed. I cannot do it physically.
Right. Just like you said, we're operating out of Capricornic energy. It's kind of like that. Like we clearly have moved through, even though we haven't done it physically.
Absolutely, yeah. Even though we haven't done it physically. What's great about this event that's coming is it's going to be a physical, for those who want it, a physical conscious shift. So we're all going to see things happening supernaturally within this realm.
Mm-hmm.
But those of us who are ascending at this time are going to ascend consciously without having to die. This
Right.
avatar that I have now, Martin Kenny, does not have to die. And then I wake up as my conscious self. I
Mm-hmm.
can ascend right now consciously. This is why it's so magical and so beautiful for those of us who want to do it physically now or
Mm-hmm.
consciously, even at least. That's the only
Okay.
difference.
Yes. No, because like you said, it's almost like a golden age act, right? Because the realms are collapsing on each other for a moment of time.
Yes.
So supernatural, like actual, when they say, oh, you need to, that inner vision may actually turn into quote unquote outer vision around this
Yes.
opening. And
Yes.
do you have any idea or innately like how long this opening is going to last? Is it just for one calendar year?
I know. I think it's going to happen very, very quickly. Maybe over 3 days, I think. This is the story of Christmas.
Oh, this is like
Yeah.
a few days situation. Oh,
Oh,
from
yeah.
from winter solstice time, not necessarily New Year, January 1, 2020.
No, no. I think if it happens, it's going to happen during a solstice, either summer solstice or winter solstice. It'll either happen
Uh-huh.
this
Uh-huh.
time, next year, if it hasn't happened this year, this time next year, or it'll happen this Christmas. A lot of people are saying this December 21, 2019?
Mm-hmm.
Or it will happen next year, this time, or Christmas? No one knows the hour or the time. But one thing I can say for a fact is I think it's going to happen during a solstice. And this is the story of Christmas time, why Christmas is so special.
Mm-hmm.
This is really where it's deep rooted, because at Christmas time, this is when we have this amazing gift.
Mm. Oh, so it's literally a gift, a Christmas
Yeah,
gift in a sense.
Christmas gift. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. And they've perverted Christmas. They've perverted the winter solstice. They've turned
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
into like they're harnessing the energy, the beautiful energy
Uh-huh.
that offers.
Because subconsciously, as human beings, we all have subconscious memories that we haven't lost.
Mm-hmm.
So we all feel that this time of year is a special time. This time we call Christmas. So there is a certain energy at Christmas time. Everyone's in good spirits. Everyone's happy. We're all family. We're all giving. We're all emitting a very similar frequency at Christmas time. No one's at
Mm-hmm.
work. Yeah. So our vibration is not being messed with. We're all at rest. Right. We're all
Yeah.
pure.
Mm-hmm.
We're all pure during Christmas. We're a family. We're in good health, good spirits. So this
Mm-hmm.
is why they've twisted it and they harness our energy, through, as we all know, all the different things where,
They
we're sent out
externalize it.
shopping,
Mm-hmm.
externalize it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But your soul
Um,
is recognizing that it's a special time.
yes, yes. And they're taking advantage of that, right?
Absolutely.
Um, Jessica asks, what about celebrities and even the secret societies and the Freemasons and MK Ultra and Illuminati? There seems to be a lot of fear created around them or that aspect of our realm as well. Anything to say
Yeah.
about these other programs put in place that are kind of like harnessing energies or sending out subconscious or hypnotic codes? Is that just a part of what it just is because we're in the Iron Age?
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, it's all part of the game. Um, and if you wanted to play the game, so I would say, if for me personally, where I am, none of that matters anymore.
Mm.
Because I now know my journey. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm here, and I know what I need to do. And I'm just focusing on my journey.
So you're
Those
not
things can be
focusing on what they're trying to do anymore.
no, no. That's not my fight anymore. That's not my journey. That's not my fight. It's not mine. I really don't care, to be honest with you. It's all meant to be the way it's meant to be. Those who are here to fight it will fight it, and you fight it. That's your journey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm past that. I'm here to prepare myself for something else,
Mm-hmm.
and those that are with me on this journey. That's what we're here for. So I don't talk about the elites. You'll see on my channel, I don't get into any of that. They are doing this, not my problem, not my journey. It's all smoke and mirrors, distractions. Will end up derailing me from my journey because I'm
Mm-hmm.
focusing on the smoke and mirrors, the fog,
Right.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not because I'm selfish. It's because I'm seeing things from a very high perspective now.
Right. And it's because you see it already. So now that you see it, now what? Okay, this is what they're doing.
Yep,
It's not a machine
absolutely.
that you want to like go against necessarily because it's taking all of your time, energy, and focus,
Energy
and it's sucking you in.
takes your
Mm-hmm.
energy, takes your energy. And that's
So
it's the
now I can
energy
see.
extraction matrix. It's extracting your energy. So even if you become a positive, you'll see a lot of positives can also get swept back into becoming a neutral and even negative because you're on
Yes.
this essential path, you're growing, and all of a sudden, you've now become a demon of truth, not an angel of
Ah,
truth, a demon of truth.
right. Because you're even because people ask, well, all of these super conspiracies, like why aren't these people dead, and why are they allowing all of these conspiracies to be online if this is like a breaker of truth or bringer of truth information? And it's because it's another one of their mechanisms or technologies to extract energy. Go on your
Oh,
YouTube channel and talk about like fighting the power is.
yep. Oh, yes.
Mhm,
Brilliant, brilliant. So that is a double-edged sword, what you've just said
mhm,
there. That's a fantastic perspective. There are two things happening here. These so-called elites or these powers that be, they are true, they are enlightened,
mhm.
right? They know all the stuff that we're talking about. If they were sitting in, if the queen is sitting in and listening to this conversation, nothing is going to shock her about what she knows all this. It's all hidden in the vault in the Vatican. They've got the books about it. They know. They're probably even in contact with a lot of these extraterrestrial beings, the negatives.
Right.
direct contact, I mean, as in direct contact. So they know how to play the game, because this is a game. And
Right.
you have to play within the rules. If you break the rules of the game, you are extracted from the game. It is all
Mm.
just a game. So they are always playing within the rules. They walk a very tightrope of, this is why they give us truth and they give us lies. They give with one hand, take with the other, because they're balancing karma.
As you say that, what I saw in my mind's eye was astral plane using as smuggling in other energies from other realms.
Yes.
There's a sense where I see, and I feel like, and this is not me being pro anti-life or pro abortion or anything like that. It has nothing to do that with the surface conversation of this, because I can see bigger picture in politics as well. I see like this anti-abortion law, and the first thing that came to my higher mind was, oh, they're smuggling in energies.
Yeah.
They're smuggling in these extraterrestrial energies into physical bodies. So don't
Absolutely.
you dare get an abortion, because we're bringing our family in.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yes, I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, that's a really good perspective. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot more going on there, and I think the biggest one is the divide and conquer program.
Yes.
Create chaos. So again, like I'm saying, they know that an awakening is happening regardless. It's happening. It's going to happen. Those that are meant to wake up are going to wake up. The positives are going to wake up. And I think this was triggered in 2012. This is when the apocalypse began.
Okay.
We are in the apocalypse. So 2012, the apocalypse happened. Mother Nature, or our Aryan selves or higher selves, began to directly give us energy. Right? It's time for you to wake up now. It's almost time. It's time for you to wake up. And these elites knew we can't stop this.
Yes.
What we can do, we can create confusion. We can create chaos. We can create all kinds of energies, smoke and fog, to confuse people. That's all we can do. We cannot stop it. We're not allowed to stop it. So this is all they've done. So again, Flat Earth, they released Flat Earth. They gave us Flat Earth.
Yes,
with the
they
glass
did.
dome above us. Controlled opposition to control that narrative.
Right, but little did they know there was a Martin Kenny.
Same thing with the New Age movement. They knew that people would be waking up spiritually. So we'll come in with this New Age movement, spiritualism that's a bit cookie, and we'll put a lot of people off. They'll be like, oh, you're one of those New Ages.
Knock you off balance because you're
Knock
waking
you
up.
off balance. That's all they're doing. So all these things are just distractions. They released all this. We are the Illuminati now. You know, oh yes, we are secret society. They even have a website now. Yes, we are secret, and we are Freemasons, and yes, we are doing all this dodgy stuff. It's to keep people distracted. Particularly the positives. They want, you and I are the best blood for this. If they can derail us, our positive energy, and steal some of that, that is lovely, lovely energy for them.
Okay, I see the other type of harvesting happening here. Yeah.
Right.
Which I feel like this is why in dream inception, mind control, all of that is so important to positives necessarily, because they know that positives, we like get a lot from that state of being. So there's like
oh man.
Yeah.
Our frequency is super, super, super high. It's this is where you get the story of vampires from. They're trying to be vampires. They're trying to be vampiric with our energy. So they put all these things in our way, distract us. So no matter where you are, if you're in the truther community, in the flat earther, there's a trap there. And the trap is to become militant and fight and let's get this word out there. If you're in the spiritual community, it's the same thing. If you're a vegan, it's the same thing. You're always fighting.
Right.
And when you're fighting, you're giving away.
War makes fire.
War makes fire. You do not want to be fighting. Protect your energy. Protect your energy. And protecting your energy is the art of letting go, allowing things to be. The only thing I'm here to change is me. I'm not here to change the world. I'm not going to change the world.
Right.
I
Or
promise
the
you.
system. The
Or
system
the
has
system.
to change.
It
Right.
will change
Okay.
itself. Me and you will not change that. No one on the internet, no internet warrior is going to change the system.
Right. This
That's
is
never
this
going to
is where
happen.
that savior superhero thing comes in, where it's just like
Absolutely.
one Neo saving the entire world. It's just
No,
like, yeah, so
you
it's almost like
you
a
save the
subcon.
world.
Mm-hmm.
You save the world by saving yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
The show must go on.
Right. Um, before we conclude, I do want to share an excerpt of what I tapped into. I went into a space and I left all of my, and I was, are you familiar with Beyond the Veil with Chris Geo and his wife, Cherie?
I think so. Yes,
They
rings the
have a
bell.
show, and there was, shout out to them. They said something, they triggered something in me about leaving the layers of ego to get to a place of center, to really get a feel or get energized of truth, and then come back into your layers and into ego. So I actually purposefully did that. I left all of my layers. I turned off birth name, ascendant name, all of that, turned all of those dials off, allowed myself to just be nothing for a period of time. I said, I'm no one and I'm nothing right now. And in that state, I just got this entire download. Excuse me, I'm just charging the computer for a moment. In that state, I got a complete drop of information. I was able to receive it, and now I'm kind of back in the world again. So I wanted to share just an excerpt of some of my findings, because what you're saying literally confirms it. I feel like I've turned it into, it's been a mix of like cosmic dance and show put together now that I'm speaking to you.
Yeah.
So would you like to hear some of what
Yes, please.
okay,
Please.
okay. So it's basically, what I've called it is the stolen heart, because when I think of earth, it's like heart. And there's an aspect of the story of parts of the heart that is continuously stolen, clearly through cycles. So I talk about consciousness first. If consciousness existed before you, then, and when we're talking about consciousness, we're really talking about energy, electromagnetism, and all of that. So if consciousness existed before you, then that makes you exactly what consciousness is. So consciousness literally has no bounds and can do whatever it pleases. And it knows this until it doesn't anymore. Now, how would consciousness not know itself anymore? By condensing the energies of itself to a point where it seemingly gets further and further away, by becoming more masterful. And when I see masterful, I'm thinking of mass, like dense physical
Yeah.
mass. Consciousness becomes more masterful in order to master itself. Consciousness must fall from grace, not to make, and I say her, not to make her way back, but to go further in deeper into herself. So then I go into the story. The identity came up as Namalulu. These women were direct descendants, or these were androgynous beings, I should say, that were direct descendants of consciousness itself, ultimately becoming masters of the universe. The physical female component is simply the primary mass as it begins or jumpstarts the descension of mass to men. They are amphibious, or what some would call mermaids, for lack of better term. However, mermaid is quite derogatory if you see, once we get towards the end of it, how, anything with maid kind of is like this expected service, nursemaid, housemaid, and so forth. So if we go to the story of like Tara or Tiamat, it's a matriarchal realm, which I'm seeing is like the center. It's a matriarchal realm, but I say matriarch, but I'm realizing it's androgynous. It's Mercury. These women were androgynous, and they're able to create life through self-reproduction. Don't think ancient is primitive. True ancient, and to me, I'm seeing its future. As in I said, true ancient times beyond Earth's construct is more of what we consider futuristic, to say the least. These women are also called on Earth, what we call on Earth scientists, physicists, and play many other parts in exploring their own expansion through nature and testing, just like people on Earth do. However, science is an Earth-based concept. From these androgynous females in the middle, they study seance instead of science. So seance to them, which is ceremony, it's a ceremony that consciously turns things into matter for the purpose of expanding through experimentation.
Wow.
So then I wrote, where did the men come from? And I said, we have Scrooge stories of extraterrestrial coming from above, from another star system, who came to and live amongst humans, eventually colonizing and taking over, but it's not necessarily that case. And this is a part of the story that I wrote. There was a Namalulu who dedicated their seance, their version of science, and they were masters in genetics and worked closely with DNA. Physicists today, till this day, are still trying to find the God molecule. Well, these androgynous beings already did, because they realized that they are the God molecule. Their experiments and work were based on their expansive visions. So they would see what could happen consciously and reverse engineer their visions to create outwardly. So they created from center and literally created externally from there. What we consider man or human was first seen and conceived in their seance visions. All they needed to do next was to externalize from within to bring it outward. They were creators in their own right because, again, they visualized first, then engineered second, not the other way around. Their research and study was inspired from their inner world always, and they would just bring it out. To bring this human inner version outward into an outward manifestation, they just needed to split the DNA, creating half versions of themselves physically, yet still balancing one half with wholeness from within, and with the masculine and feminine poles even in a half part of themselves. And it seemed like an interesting and exciting experience. And a lot of people like to call humans experiments, but I'm going to say here on their behalf that it's human experience, not experiment. Because there's a difference in itself with the way they do their work with seance and not science. So just to fast forward a little bit, Edie, you heard this already. Sorry, y'all, I'm going through the story again. So from this, the Namalulu would be able to carry their first sets of offspring, which led to the original descended woman, what some would call Eve, or the original Eve known as Lilith, was born from the split. So Lilith was born from the womb of one of these androgynous beings. This is why Lilith is considered the fallen one in the Earth's mythologies, the original Lucifer who fell from grace according to the patriarchal history. Mother of demons just simply means true mother of split men, the human. The original Adam, if you will, was indeed the first male in this sense, whom Lilith gave birth to. Adam came from the first female's womb. She is his mother, not his wife. The Namalulu could not generate or reproduce males from their androgynous bodies. This is also where the, oh, sorry, I'm kind of going off here. So the original Eden, now that this alchemic creation was a success, the Namalulu reproduced 8 more females to come after Lilith or Eve. This is where the unicorn comes from. There was a time and point where Adam was the only male until he fathered, and I'm only using these references of name because this is what most people are familiar with.
Yeah.
Until he fathered his first son with one of the other women, not his mother, of course. So the unicorn is synonymous with one phallus or one penis or one unique horn, one-horned horse. Which is like the one-horned Horus that they turned him into. the hero. All of this played out over time. This also was became the stories of the untainted creation stories of what would be the Neteru in Kemetic mythology, and the basis for all pantheons on Earth for Earth religion. The daughters of the Namalulu were birthed through, like Neteru, the first generations of offspring from female wombs, both male and female now. I must say, before going further, these descendants weren't created for worship or religious purposes. It ended up that way as eons passed due to changes within cultures over generations of time. Stories were passed down of ancestors who we now call gods as generations went on to keep their traditions and stories alive. Mythology was created for children, not adults. They were created for children as they learned about their ancestors' walk in life and used these experiences for teaching universal lessons to children while also keeping the memories of their lineage alive and well. So to fast forward, what we consider thousands of years, let's say approximately 500 million years Earth time, we now come to the Great Fall, what we consider, and I wrote Lemuria. At this point, you have corruption, factions, wars, external technology, and everything you can think of. This would be what Earth considers a failed experiment, which did not happen overnight, of course. This fall lasted through many generations, just like we see in our reality today. So that's just a little excerpt of like a whole thing that I wrote out of like my vision of how it started, of going back to center on how we became physical. Like consciousness literally thought itself into matter, which was holding both poles physically and energetically, and through that birth was created in that center that you're talking about with like Mount Meru and so on, which is why I feel like a lot of that feminine energy, that raw feminine energy from the center, is something about it that they're constantly using from it. So that, I just wanted to get your perspective on that, because what you're saying and what I tapped into without even knowing this is like a matchup of some sort.
It is beautiful. I had goosebumps as you're reading that.
Thank you.
That is, you've basically just explained what I've explained with detail. You've put a lot of flesh onto, so the stuff that I do is very skeletal. There's not detail. You filled in so much detail in there. I had so many light bulb moments as you were speaking as well. Absolutely phenomenal. Have you got that written down somewhere?
Yes, I was reading from my document. Yes.
Wow, could you please send it to me? If you could, I would really appreciate that. I would love to study that.
Absolutely. Yes, I'll send you the full story, because it goes on and on.
I think I could fill in a lot of gaps that I had, of questions that I had, which you already have from what you've read. Phenomenal. Beautiful.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback on that.
Wow. And this is what I love about this, that, you know, we all learn from one another, you know, and this is the greatest reward that I think I can have, when I share something and then I learn back from something that I've shared.
Right.
Priceless. Yeah. Amazing. I can't wait to read through that.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I mean, just continue doing the work. They're mad at people like us. They're just like, y'all past Aquarius, y'all over here trying to, no, it's just, this is what it is. And this is our path and alignment. Nothing's better or worse. We just are where we are, and we trigger those who are also on that path, and it just continues. You triggered me, other person triggers me, I'm triggering others. So this is just how we ping off of each other. So let's just continue to do this, man. Let's play the game. Let's just play it consciously. How about that?
Super consciously.
Super consciously, exactly. So before we head off, can you tell people where they can find you? I know you have a documentary out and all of that. So just give people your information and so forth, so that they can do their further research on you and what you have to offer.
Yeah, so just before I do that, I just want to touch on a really, really, really super important point, which I definitely wouldn't want anyone to miss. So big question people always ask, Why the lie? Right? Why does it matter if the earth is flat or not? What does it matter, what shape it is? It doesn't matter. If I just focus on the spiritual stuff, that's all that matters. So I'm going to address that question really
Okay.
quickly. Why does it matter? We're all born into this world with amnesia, right? We all don't know where we are. We don't know why we're here. And our purpose is to learn these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, your amnesia or our amnesia carries over into our afterlife. People have this conception that when you die, you're all knowing, you become God and you know everything and everything is hunky-dory, happy days. Absolutely not. This is the reincarnation trap. So what happens is when we die, and I had an NDE, a near-death experience, so I'm
Oh,
speaking
okay.
firsthand. When we pass over, your memories of this life are carried over into the next life.
Mm.
Okay, your conscious memories. And you face yourself in the mirror. So you're not judged by anyone. You have to face yourself. So even though you have no memories, you are fully self-aware. You're aware of what you are and who you are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when this happened to me, I found myself looking at myself. I could hear myself. I didn't see myself, but I could hear myself asking, what do you want to do? What do you
Mm-hmm.
want to do? Right?
Yeah.
And my answer was, I want to go back. I want
Mm-hmm.
to go back out of fear because I was afraid.
Yes.
Right? I want to go back. I want comfort. I want to go back. I want to go back. Well, where am I? What is this? So I think what happens when we die in ignorance of A, where we are and who we are, the matrix by default sends you back into the system.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the matrix or your higher self asks you, where do you want to go? If you think you live on a spinning ball and that's all there is in existence, free choice, you make that choice for yourself. You send
Mm.
yourself back down here. Because all you think
Wow.
there is a spinning ball. So you say, well, I want to go back home. And you say, and that voice will say, well, where's home? Oh, home is where I just came from.
Earth.
Earth.
Right there.
I want to go back to Earth. Oh, okay, then off you go. And you back down that rabbit hole again, that white
Mm-hmm.
light. So this is why it's important to know where you are. You can't go to somewhere else if you don't know where that somewhere else is.
Right.
It just makes no sense. If you
Mm-hmm.
pass on and you say, I'm going back home, well, where's home? I don't know. So if you don't know, you're going to have to rely on someone else to take you there. And would you want to be relying on other entities to take you somewhere else? You're not
Right.
in control of your life.
Nor
This
your
is why,
afterlife. Mm-hmm.
know your afterlife. This is why flat earth, not just flat earth, but the full construct of where we are is important. So you have a map, whether it's in this
Mm-hmm.
lifetime or whether you pass on, at least you have a map. When you're asked, where do you want to go? I want to go to the center. The center of where?
Mm-hmm.
The center of the earth. I want to go back to the heart, the womb. And I know where it is. It's at the center, the magnetic, the north. And that's where you'll go.
Wow. So you have more options and choices because of your knowing of where you are.
Knowledge is power. This is where it comes from. This is true
Mm-hmm.
knowledge. Once you have knowledge, you have your own sphere of destiny. You become powerful for your own journey. Not just here. This is in the Bible. It says, once you have the truth, you have defeated death.
Yes.
Right? You've defeated death because
Yes.
now you will no longer die. Because now, if this avatar dropped right now, and my consciousness shot up into wherever it shoots up into, I wouldn't be in shock. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be in any fear. I would know exactly where I'm going. I would know exactly what I need to do and what I need to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been reborn again already in this life. I don't have to be reborn again in the afterlife. I've already done
Right.
it now.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. That's true empowerment. Mm-hmm.
Super important. This is why it matters to know where you are. This is why it matters to know why you're here. Learn, experience, grow, and you move on.
Mm-hmm. And keep and retain that consciousness so that you
Keep
carry
and
it with
retain.
you And you get to constantly choose and be that constant player until you're not anymore. Up
Until you're
to
not
your
anymore.
choosing, to your choosing. Not being
Absolutely.
like suppressed from distractions, but you may say, you know what, I've done it all. Either I'm going back to my star system and going into another cosmic egg, or you know what, I really enjoy the earth journey. So I'm just gonna like erase everything and start from center, from the Iron Age all over again and do this shit over.
Yep. You can choose to play your own game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is the truth that will set you free. 100%.
It's definitely freeing. Yes.
So I just needed to put that in there because a lot of people ask that question, and it's so important. And this is why the flat earth is probably the most divisive truth out there. It creates the most chaos because it's the most important. Because it's your
Wow.
map. You can't go anywhere without a map. You
That
cannot
is
go
very
anywhere without a
true.
map. And this is why it is such a hard one for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
The map. Super
Exactly.
important.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. That is something for us to carry with us, literally, figuratively, spiritually. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Yeah,
Yes.
so I've got a Facebook page, Martin Kenny, really straightforward. I've got a YouTube channel, Flat Earth Universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you just click that in, I think it's got like an eye icon. Yeah, and that's it really.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just here spreading the word and moving along your own path. So
That's it. Yeah.
awesome.
And great work all said as well. Well done. I actually came across you through my sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my sister, she's not yet quite awake. She's
Uh-huh.
aware, but she's not awake. But she's been following you for years and years through the hair.
Yes.
Used to get loads of tips about doing her hair and stuff. And one day she came over to me and she says, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. Osset mentioned you. She mentioned you in one of her videos." And I said, "Oh, who's this?" And then she sent me the link, and that's how I found you.
Oh,
So yeah,
wow.
I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you were watching like conscious videos." She was like, "I don't really, but you know, I
But
quite like
I
it."
mentioned you, so which one?
Yeah. So yeah,
That is
thanks for that.
funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you again. Hope you enjoyed your summer solstice. Still enjoying these energies. And thank you for sharing, taking all this time out for us. And we shall definitely speak again. Maybe 2020, we kind of like gather again with some updates because you know there's more coming.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think even closer to that, I think um, we need to watch out for some big announcements in the next couple of months.
Okay.
I would say, watch out for Trump's speech on the 4th of July.
We will most definitely. Okay.
There'll
And
be
we can
some nuggets
decode
in there.
that with our awareness and know what's
Absolutely. Yeah.
happening. Got it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we
And you.
shall see you soon.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on, Osset, and for being patient. And
You're
thank you so
welcome.
much.
All right.
Take care.
You too.
All right. Cheers. Bye.